It has been 2 years since the Melrose Massacre, as the papers had called it. You spent the first 9 months laying low on a tropical island inhabited by macaw kinku, southwest of Falmount's mainland. It was a wonderful tropical vacation filled with beachside alcoholic beverages with those little umbrellas. You got to taste coconut and pineapple for some of your first times, probably. And once you figured the dust had settled, and also decided to never go back to Falmount again, you set off to check on the status of Rika's sister-in-law, Cherie. Living in the southern portion of North Cimarron with one of the biggest clerics in the area taking care of her, Cherie's condition had undoubtedly worsened. She doesn't have much longer. One of the clerics had told you, and Ray could confirm just by looking at her, maybe a month, tops. But you still carried the Orb of Arwick. And with it, you're able to stop her condition from worsening any further. You freeze her in time with a month left to live. The professor had a solution, however. An artifact that he'd read about many years ago that could save Cherie and cure her of her illness entirely. Professor, if you will.
It's called the Everlasting Necklace. It was created by Jonathan Craghammer over 500 years ago. Many have written it off as a myth or a legend, but many archivists believe it to be a real artifact, lost in history and hidden by tall tales. See, the book says that Jonathan created this necklace over 40 years of his life, too old to make another one once it was completed. He had no apprentice to learn the trade. Nobody stuck with him for the entire 40 years, so it would be the only one that existed. Then he thought he would use it once he fell ill, but he let death take him. He knew his creation was meant not for himself, he noted in his journals, and he knew it was also too much of a burden to decide who would be given a second chance at life. So he tucked it away. He refused to tell anyone where he hid it, and his secret died with him, until a book of Craghammers was discovered in northern Cimarron, which is where I believe we should begin.
Well, if anything of our adventures tells us about such experiences, is that many myths tend to be a reality. It's just we have to go searching for them.
Yes, and with that knowledge, you set off together to find this artifact. You have currently been searching for over a year to find this. And the orb and Cherie are both guarded by, is it Morsius? Morsius?
Morsius.
Morsius. And Rika, as she stayed behind as well to make sure nothing was going to happen to the orb, and therefore keeping Cherie stuck in this
Stasis.
sort of, stasis. You finally narrowed down the location of this necklace, finding another one of Jonathan's journals in this little town's library. So now we pick up with you sitting in a small port town called Orr's Rest. It's in sort of the eastern part of North Cimarron. There are maybe 1,000 citizens in this town, and they have no idea what sort of artifact rests below them. You're sharing a meal currently, consisting of fish and potatoes and a not-so-great pitcher of ale in the center of the table, to fill your own tankards with as you wish. The Crow's Nest pub has a full house of 8 tables tonight, and you hear light chatter and forks scraping against the plates as you finish up your meals. You are aware of a cave entrance that you believe leads to the location of this necklace. It's out on the beach, and it is currently evening. You're finishing up your meals, and the floor is yours.
I would imagine that Ashne she spends most meal times is spending hers, instead of like this meal before her has the papers of the notes on the Orb of Arwick scattered, and is currently studying and drinking her pitcher of tea. Just the entire pitcher. And as usual, seems to be mumbling to herself, and is very not focused on the current topic at hand.
I believe the professor would be sort of in quiet meditation after the meal, sort of looking over sort of rereading his holy book that he had discovered about the great god that sort of had been lost to his people, Tuto Karuna, and sort of reflecting.
Reflecting.
Yes, reflection.
And what is Ray doing?
I mean, at this point, if we haven't already, I think Ray's first course of action would be to like have at least a map or a semblance of understanding of like where in the town like the cave is versus just where everything else is.
Yeah, so you'd probably be studying the map. You have it laid out, kind of like there's kind of been a paper battle between
all three of our
everybody's like kind of like when they have to look, they just push up papers from the other ones, and
yeah.
it's a mess. But yeah, you would have a map. It's not very big.
Oh, yeah.
The town itself it's not very wide. It just kind of stretches up the coast a little bit. So most of it is pretty close to the coast, and you guys have picked a little tavern closer to the cave entrance that you're looking at. It's just off the beach, and it just kind of tucks into the side of these rocks to where it looks like it probably goes underneath this town. And even just being here for the short amount of time that you have been, not many of the citizens go there, especially not at night. Nobody's been hurt for a while, but just these reanimated skeletons come out at night to walk around, and then they return before sunrise.
Skeletons?
They're never seen during the day. They just seem to walk around the beach at night, and most of the citizens just avoid them, and that's kind of how they've handled it. People have gone in before to try to take care of them, but they weren't seen again, not with flesh on their bones at least.
Ah, yes, skeletons, quite fascinating. In my experience, it's quite common to find skeletons in ruins. The two are practically married. Ray, can you hand me that piece of paper there, the one that you are currently resting your ale on?
Yes, sorry. And she'll kind of lift it and sort of across the table.
Excellent, thank you. Druidic. But yes, this current wild goose chase we're on, you have the mapping cartography handled. Yes, Ray, you're scouting out our route, and we know where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, I know where I'm going up until we get to that cave, but very little information on how it's mapped out beneath there, so...
Yes, no one lived, everyone died, we're gonna have to figure it out ourselves, yada yada yada.
The usual.
As it goes. I mean, we've had quite our fair share of adventures over these past few years. We know the song and dance. No? What are your thoughts, dear Professor?
I believe that in the end, if we sift through the evidence and do not get too hasty or too focused, that in time, Tuto Karuna will guide us where we need to go.
Tuto Karuna. That is your god, no?
Yes.
Ah, it's always nice to see. Tell me about him. I've not heard this in depth. As much as I tried to pry whenever we were within your homeland, I couldn't get much out of the locals.
As much as I tried to be a fucking nerd,
Nobody was having it.
Nobody would have my shit. I want to know. No one told me. Well,
This is actually the only thing that seems to give her pause.
the reason that likely no one would be able to tell you about Tuto Karuna is that as part of our mission here is to rediscover the colonized history, the worship of Tuto Karuna was eliminated from our islands many hundreds of years ago when the first traders arrived. And the clerics of various other religions came and silently eliminated Tuto Karuna. And it was only in my discovery of this book and my learning of monastic traditions that I have been able to start to reintroduce his worship amongst my people.
That's wonderful to hear. I should have known there was a bit of fear about them whenever I had asked. I'm sorry to hear that, though. We didn't really have much in the worship of gods or anything like that. It was simply ancestral, one might say. We didn't quite have one land, so it was mostly our bloodline that carried us. And if you forget that, then, well... Anyhow, so... This... What did you call it again? This, artifact thingy?
It's called the Everlasting Necklace. I am sure it probably has various different names depending on who you ask, but so far, from the research that we have all done, you, myself, and Ray, it appears that
I have done research about it
it
in my
appears-
spare time.
I know. And I just sort of pat, Jonathan, you have lots of research you are doing. This appears to be the name that it most commonly appears by. And sort of or sort of out of the corner of his ear, there's probably some like ruckus going on over in the corner. And he turns and he goes, "Excuse me, would you shut up?" Anyway, I was saying. He just sort of like composes himself.
Bring it back in.
It's all right, Professor.
Just like Shifu and Kung Fu Panda, inner peace.
Simply having a good time after.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a moment.
work.
Ray, make a perception check.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
I wasn't ready to start rolling.
The first
yet.
roll of the night.
I think you made the first roll last time too.
I think I did, and I'm pretty sure it didn't go well at all. But
Oh,
this
fuck.
time, fear not. That's a 23.
Oh, okay. So when the professor turns around and shouts, your eyes kind of go over to that table, and there were a couple people. They were just being kind of loud, and they were just chattering with each other. And his shout made them look over at all of you, and as you look, they just kind of squint at you for a second, and then start mumbling to themselves.
I don't know how much attention we want to draw from ourselves, but maybe it would be a good idea to move somewhere a little less populated.
Did we rent a room here? Is that
You're-
something we did?
But you probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Yeah.
Where are we sleeping? Outside? My notes, they're gonna get wet.
Do not worry, Ashnai. That is why I brought several waterproof bags. And I imagine like seal skin sort of caught and like turned inwards so that the skin, the fur is on the inside. I'll just hold it open and be like,
excellent. Repayment for the gloves, no? And Ash and I start organizing the notes and putting them in, and we can take this to our quarters, or perhaps go outdoors.
I have no qualms with either.
I prefer to keep away from prying ears either way. In my experience, walls tend to have ears, and it's best to not have walls in that case. You can typically see who is attempting to pry, if you don't have walls.
Walls might have ears, but floors have larger mouths.
Oh, I don't.
Well,
Yeah.
let's get onto the grass then, shall
Yeah,
we?
please. What time of day is it, Carrie?
The professor looks very wise when he says this, and to him it does not sound like absolute codswallop. But I'm sure to everyone else, kind of like,
All right, that's ominous. Let's pack it up and go.
It's like evening right now. The sun probably will be setting soon.
What's
So-
the moon phase? Are we lucky enough to have a full moon? Will we have some light?
roll for it. Just roll.
Roll a dice and tell me your number.
It's just
Or
a
tell
dice.
Me what dice you're rolling.
There's too many options.
Just pick one.
Blind
I'm gonna roll a
reach in.
d4. Nobody ever rolls a d4.
Oh, so true.
4.
4 full. Okay, full moon.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah! All right, so we go on this nice evening stroll. What's the mood outside in this quaint village?
Not very lively. Like the town seems to die at like 5 o'clock. And
Oh fuck! They're all dead.
now
They're skeletons. They're taking over.
it's Jason and the Argonauts. Careful, the claymation.
You'd see a few people walking around, but it seems to be just like they closed up their shop and they're walking home. Like it's not very busy out here. There's not many people to eavesdrop, especially if you head down closer to the beach. Like the town itself is sort of up on a hill, and there's like a rocky hill that goes down, and then the beach starts. So
Okay.
I imagine, because we'd mentioned that there's skeletons near the beach, especially at night, so probably not straying too close while we discuss.
okay, well as you guys are walking outside, Ray, with that 23, as you are exiting the building, this little piece of paper catches your eye, and as the door is shutting, you see on the door itself there is a wanted poster with your face on it.
Oh, I yoinked that shit down. I yoinked that shit down real
Specifically,
fast.
Or
As you're
like
walking
our
by.
faces, or
Nope, just Ray.
Oh no!
Part of me is really proud.
But the other part
But
of me is
most of me is
terrified.
not. I'm gonna pull that shit up and slap that in my pocket.
Oh,
and I'm gonna keep an eye out for any others.
did I miss a note?
No. Look,
Oh,
peep this, and I'll like show it to him.
Ashanai, kind of out of a breast pocket, takes out some little spectacles and puts them on. You know, the little circular ones and places them on the end of their beak, and unfolds this paper and says, "Oh, that is a lovely portrait."
Yeah, how good does it look, Carrie?
I look at it.
Does it look spot on?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was a
Damn it.
really well-paid artist.
The professor, I sort of said, goes, however, I do not think it does truly the justice of the beauty that Miss Ray has, or the glint or shine in her eye.
Indeed, the artist is quite well at capturing the visage, but not quite the essence.
Not the spirit.
It's really
Needs more-
difficult to do that. So
Serene deviousness to it.
Indeed.
true. You really
How
don't
much-
see that when you
How
look
much
at me.
is how much are they wanted for? That's
Good.
what I want to know.
question?
There's no reward amount posted.
Oh.
It just says there is a reward, and it says wanted alive.
This is the kind of I'll pay you an exposure. If you capture this person, I'll give you exposure.
Well, Ray, I don't think we have anything to worry about. It seems that they're not quite upfront with the reward, and they want you alive, so that would be more trouble than it's worth in my experience. Oh, I think my record was 5,000 gold pieces. Excellent times.
Traveling
that
with
run?
basically a celebrity. Damn.
Not to brag.
Not to brag, but I'm a
Come on, Mia.
high ticket item. I also, as we're walking along, I also believe that whatever the equivalent to IPAs are, the professor has now started becoming a connoisseur of IPAs in his supporting artisan businesses and local businesses. So he just cracks open an IPA and is like, it's very chill.
How do you crack it open? Are you carrying a keg and then you take an axe and just whack it? Is that how you crack it?
No, I envision he has it like, he has a little keg with a straw.
Oh, that's excellent.
I love that.
He has a metal straw. So
I love that.
Snaps it out.
Sustainable. Wonderful.
He's learned a lot in the last 2 years.
I don't know how you drink that swill. It's just so bitter.
The bitterness.
I
makes you
drink
think
black
of-
tea, so.
The bitterness makes you think of how sweet the rest of life is. It is a reminder to enjoy what we have.
I suppose.
So,
or you could just
where are you
actually-
walking?
Sure.
I assume
Question.
towards the cave.
We know there's the cave, but is there any ruins above the cave?
Nope, the town is what it seems to be above the cave.
Okay, so the town was probably built on top of whatever was here.
Well,
Shoot.
that is an excellent question because usually towns have to have some sort of infrastructure like aquifers or, plumbing.
So what I'm hearing is we go raid people's basements.
No.
And
Do
we
they
go
have
dig their
basements?
foundations.
I think looking at the blueprints and the building plans might be beneficial because if we could see where people were able to dig below ground, we can see where people weren't able to dig below ground. And that could
while
help
this
us
is-
map out the cavern.
While that is a great idea, Ashnai, I don't know if a town this size is really going to have blueprints. There's probably like, 4 or
What?
5 buildings and a dock.
It's not that big. There are like 1,000 people here. Like, it stretches up, but
So like the size of my hometown.
I
We
need
ain't
to
got
speak
no
to the local
thinking
government.
blueprints.
And, Professor, you would know the majority of any blueprints are kept at the archive, which is in Falmount.
Fuck.
Which
Damn it.
I also
We already
burned,
burned that bridge.
which I burned down.
Yeah.
It was very
I feel like
satisfying.
as Ashnai saying like we should get this, and I'm kind of like, So here's the thing.
There's always a caveat.
Takes a long slurp of his IPA. We can't get the blueprints because I burned them down in the museum.
Oh, right. That is when to do it.
Yes.
Always gotta kick ourselves in the
a-
ass, don't we?
A dangerous time in my past where I was not at peace. My rage was like the fire that consumed that building. But now I am more calm.
Inner
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Right. Certainly. Well, I mean,
So as you guys are just kind of walking around, kind of in the direction of the
Contemplating.
beach, but like kind of wondering where you want to go, you do pass just this large post where you see another wanted poster with Ray's face on it.
I'm yoinking that shit down again.
You just head over to it and tear it down. You kind of look around.
I'm not loving this feeling
Well-
that I am having inside right now.
because and Ashanai isn't paying attention. Ashanai is like, well, if there's one thing that I've learned in my travels, it's that while written record can be lost to time or mysterious fires and arson, word of mouth tends to be very good. Perhaps elder or something of the sort who knows the village well that we could ask about such a thing.
True, but I'm betting the person we probably want to talk to is either asleep or getting ready to go to bed or taking a shower and then going to sleep. Like, hello, we know you're naked in the shower, but we'd like to talk to you about a very important matter.
Well,
You seem old. Can we ask you some questions, please?
what is one more?
You seem
night?
like between 45 and 68, you know.
I don't like to assume. I mean, what is one more night in the sling of nights within an entire year of shooting in the dark and leaving the orb behind.
This is true, although I am hesitant to stay too long here, given that we have now discovered 2 posters of this written.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, I'm not very keen to stay here.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not seeing wanted posters of myself or our dear professor
true.
here.
I've slept in the woods before. What's one night of sleeping in the woods?
Are we sleeping in the woods?
If one of us shall slumber within the boughs of the trees, then we all shall. For to understand the pain that all go through, that one goes through, we must all experience.
Did we pay our tab? Also,
I imagine the professor probably left like a piece of
that's why
jade,
there's wanted posters.
like a piece of jade or like a seashell or something. Because
What the fuck is this?
in
gold.
Arakawat, they don't use coins; they barter. So I'm just like, here, have some jade or a seashell.
You've just left
No.
seashells on a sea fishing village.
Oh, hold on.
I can
And
go
they're
down to
like,
the shore and get 5
The
of
fuck
these.
is this?
Yeah.
Gonna cause inflation.
It's like, I brought the best shells. These are going to increase your shell market.
Oh my
They're gonna increase the
God.
value of your shells. This is like
Exactly.
worth 50 of your shells.
Yeah, dude.
So,
I got the premium shells.
Professor, you did pay the tab, yes?
I pull up like a little pouch off of my bag, and you like see me looking through like various different shells, and I go, ah, yes, I gave them the shiny.
In the current denomination to this area?
I believe it was a shell of the genus Thalara dunhorcra, very spiny sea slug that.
Do I
molts
know what
twice a-
currency they use here?
Oh yeah, they use gold.
I think they prefer precious metals here, my dear professor.
But Tuto Karuna has no need for worldly possessions or gold.
Well, yes, understandably so.
How can the luster of gold last longer than the sound and smell of the sea one would find in a seashell?
I'd be inclined to agree, but unfortunately, different cultures for different vultures. As the saying goes.
I also really like how, in one hand, Professor is like, I support local businesses, no exposure for you, but I will pay you in a shell that I found.
Can I offer you a shell in this trying
I found a
time?
very pretty seashell. Would you like it?
So sweet. Well, we won't be going back anyhow, so I don't think it makes much of a difference now. The ale was kind of shit anyway, but maybe I'll leave them a few pieces if
Putting it
we happen to
lightly.
pass by. Camping it is. What is the environment like in this area? Is it like forested? Is it they've
Like,
got
okay.
clearings?
Mangroves, salt
There-
marshes.
It's mostly clearings. There are a few little like groups of trees, but no groves by any means, no forests or anything. It's mostly
okay.
clearings.
So it's mostly like plains, and then there's some
little like thickets.
herbaceous
Yeah,
thickets.
Yeah, thickets, that
Yeah.
would be a better word.
So I imagine we would go towards one of those. Probably not doing torchlight. We've got a full moon. Not trying to draw attention to ourselves.
Okay.
And kind of one close-ish to the beach. Not too far, not too close. We're gonna go camping. Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys travel over, make up camp for the night.
Yeah.
Do we die in our sleep? Please say no.
No.
Damn, do we got shit to start a fire? That's,
Yeah, I mean, you would have come prepared. You have supplies.
Yes, my bedroll, my candles. I like candles.
The professor does not have a tent, but he does strip down to his skivvies and starts doing like Tai Chi in the moonlight.
Yes, I'll
Majestic.
light some candles for the mood. so he can focus. We know what happens when he doesn't do his nightly Tai Chi. And then,
Murder.
have a proper fire and then...
If he doesn't do his Tai Chi, there's murder, I tell you. It's horrible.
And then I imagine Ray and I actually set up the fire and some hammocks, and I imagine we have some dried fruits from our time in the tropics, and then I don't know. Is there any tubers around here to forage? I could go for some root vegetables right now.
some coastal chives or
scallions. Carrots actually grow in sandy soils really well, as well as onions, and potatoes are more for soil.
Most of any sort of vegetation that's growing here is owned.
Owned?
So if you want to raid somebody's gardens or
Oh, I found this conveniently placed patch of oddly
with a fence around
organized.
It's absolutely beautifully cultivated rutabagas. How nice of someone to just leave it out here.
Why would they fence in
my cabbages?
Natural landscape?
The professor is simultaneously very capitalist, but also very communist, and just I appreciate small businesses, but these are our rutabagas.
Is there anything you want to specifically do while you're camping tonight, or do you want to just...
I imagine
just fade into morning?
Well, okay, so if we're planning on... we can say we did a keep watch thing, but I specifically want to see because I know they talked about skeletons on the beach. Do we see any from where we are?
Yeah, if you're keeping an eye out towards that cave and that beach, you would see them just out and wandering. They don't try to make their way up to the town. They don't try to wade their way into the water. They just walk around aimlessly on the beach, and then
nothing different about them from
make a perception check.
Skeletons.
Insert
Strawberry dice. You're doing so well. We're one for one.
Minecraft skeleton noise.
That's fine. That is I believe a 17.
Okay. You'd be able to see a slight glow in their skull. Something arcane that just at least seems to power them. But that's it.
Okay.
I imagine, as far as specifics, Astronite is probably going to try to go with their original idea without really any input, and kind of map the placement of the buildings, because people need root cellars and plumbing and water. So generally the layout of the town is going to tell them where people dug down. So she's going to spend her time kind of looking at the town and mapping it out, just to give a base idea. So if we can't get anything, at least we have this, and the negative space should give us a potential map, maybe.
Okay.
And in the meantime, she's looking up and down, and actually plucks a feather off and uses that as a quill.
Nice.
Just has a vial of ink, and is doing that, and as she's doing that, very focused, she says, Ray.
Yes?
You seemed troubled. What is it?
I was watching out for the skeletons. They have a peculiar glow coming from their heads. I'm wondering if that's a potential weak spot, or if it just means nothing.
That's a very good, astute observation, and that's something to keep in mind. I hadn't noticed as much. That's potentially a power source. I believe that's a safe assumption, so go for the head if we are to run into that.
Carrie, were there any stories of skeletons in the islands at all? Or, I know it's a very different climate, very different culture, but I don't know if there's any similar kind of
or maybe
beware.
Not particularly. Adventurers will tell tales of, finding reanimated skeletons in crypts and this and that, but this seems to be specific to this town, and there's just this curse sort of on the town, like that they've just chosen to live with. Like they no longer try to get rid of them. They're just the skeletons don't hurt them as long as they don't go down into the beach, so they just don't go into the beach at night. Like,
sorry, little Timmy, our vacation's canceled. They're skeletons.
They just make sure they're
we can't go down there.
out of the beach before nightfall, and that's how the town kind of handles it. So
I'm curious if we've only seen the skeletons come out at night, is it going to be safer for us to go into the cave during the day?
Counter argument. If they go out at night, where do they go into the day? Presumably in the caves. If we go during the day, there's going to be presumably more skeletons in the cave. Or that's an observation to look out for. I think you should actually look out for this over the course of the night. See where they go. Do they simply deactivate upon the sun's rise, or do they return to the caves? Very astute. I think your learnings have gone well. Our lessons.
Yeah, I would say so. I also like to watch things. It's interesting.
But as for my question earlier, while that has gleaned a lot of good information, I meant otherwise. You do seem troubled. These wanted posters, do you have any idea what they may be? No judgment. I've committed a fair amount of my own crime back in the day.
I'm mostly curious about the fact that I'm wanted only alive, so I don't think it's for anything I've done. I'm hoping it's just not from the people that I left when I joined our motley crew.
Ah, your clerical order, yes?
Yeah.
So I just had a wild theory. What if the skeletons are the skeletons of the ancestors of the town from the graveyard?
Well, I mean, that would be something to bring up with the elder in the morning, and that perhaps if there's any skeletons in the closet that have gone missing.
Huh?
We just uncovered that this town is like full of serial murderers.
Oh my god!
Carrie's like, no, he's uncovered my plan.
damn it.
Gotta change it!
Well, why would this clerical order want you to return so badly that they would put up a reward for your return?
I mean,
did you happen to pick off the top of the coffers on your way out?
no. I was supposed to return after destroying the orb.
Ah, yes. And we all know how well that went.
Yes.
Though I am grateful for it, I'm just nervous, I suppose, that... I mean, it's been 2 years and I've hardly uncovered a damn thing about this orb, and not only that, I can't even study it, as we had to leave it behind. For a good cause, obviously, but I do lament the fact every day. Think about it a lot, quite often.
Dream about it even.
Dream about it even. Speaking of dreams, who's taking first watch? Observing the skeletons. Well, I guess I will. I'm making this map, and it's quite a bit till sunrise. So once I finish the map, I'll wake up. Well, Professor, you seem quite well rested. Why don't you take the next watch?
And then I can take the last one. I can keep an eye on the skeletons for where they go specifically. So.
Careful,
All right.
they got bows and arrows.
Yeah.
Is this Minecraft? Is there gonna be creeper?
Surprise! So, I need you to make an intelligence check for me for this, for this map you're trying to map out.
+1 to intelligence. Would that be any skill or just intelligence?
Just intelligence.
That would be a 16 plus 1. That's a 17.
Okay. All right, so throughout your watch, you're kind of mapping out this town as best you can. And your mind wanders for a little while, and you find yourself just absentmindedly shading certain places, like the buildings. You shade the You're actually making a pretty decent drawing of like an overview of this town. And as you're doing that, you're nearing the end of your watch, and you glance over towards the cave's entrance, and you look at your map, and you kind of place it on the entrance, or place it on the map where you think the entrance would be.
About there.
The cave entrance lines up with every street or road.
Oh.
And the roads you wouldn't have to dig down. You're merely paving it. Ash and I actually exclaims this aloud. I have it. Shit. I don't know if anyone wakes up to that.
I don't know. We've been traveling for a while. I kind of expect maybe this is a little.
They're
normal.
probably used to it. Yeah.
Like me, screaming about something in the middle of the night. The Druidic Cipher. I knew it. It's of the woodlands of the Eastern Strait.
Yep.
Finally, it's been months.
The professor will I imagine he sleeps cross-legged. He doesn't lay down. He just literally will just sleep. He just pops his legs out of position. Well, I'm on second watch anyway.
Apologies, Professor. I hadn't mean to. Well, you know how it is. I can share my findings with you, or can wait till morning. I don't even know if I'll be able to sleep.
Well, how about we try to get some sleep, Ash and I, and then we can tackle that feather in the morning.
All right. Well, good night then. And so Ash and I settles down, but is just reading in the bunk. Clearly not sleeping.
You hear mumbling occasionally from Ash and I, just being like, "Oh, okay," so, and just kind of settling back down.
And actually they manage to sleep by reading, but even in their sleep they're just kind of the derivative of language family.
Just mumbling in your sleep. Professor, is there anything specific you're looking out for or doing on your watch?
I think I might just pray to Tokaruna and just see if he has any insight. Sorry.
Hey, it's me, ya boy.
It's me. You
Kind
feathery
of
boy.
revived your entire religion and
Just saying.
did your worship. I could use that guidance right about now. Hit me with that shit, Pops.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing if he, the great macaw, has any. So the way I literally imagine him, I imagine him looking is. So imagine the most ripped dude possible with the macaw head.
Like Egyptian style.
Yes, but ripped and
glistening.
glistening.
Lubed up and everything.
Oh yeah, and just macaw head.
It's actually traditional to douse your feathers with oil.
Yes, oil myself. You guys just wake up. I'm just oiling. I wake up to watch. I'm just oiling myself.
Just please don't get too close
No,
to the
you're
fire.
pretty.
And you're like, wow, something smells delicious.
Poultry.
All right.
Wakes up,
chicken.
wow, what is that smell? Oh, Professor, you're on fire.
Oh fuck.
All right, Professor, make a religion check.
Okay. That'd be an 8.
All right. So you spend the majority of your time praying, and the breeze kind of comes off the ocean, but you don't sense any sort of answer or even really a heavy presence or anything like that currently.
Busy today? I understand. Probably doing
Leave
your
a message.
Switching over to Ray for last watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I'll walk over and just sort of give a little pat. Like, Miss Ray, it is time for your watch. Bob, kid, wake up!
Yeah. All right.
Your turn.
Damn. What
Just
are Ray's
X.
pronouns?
She, her.
Ah, excellent.
No worries.
Pops Ray in the head with my beak. Wake up, child.
Ow! No need. Not necessary. Thank you, though. Okay, my turn.
Got it right. He's angry because of his lack of sleep. He says, "I gotta rest."
God didn't answer me. What the fuck, man?
Pissed.
Inner peace.
His
Inner peace.
neglectful father figure. So Ray is just gonna do what she'd planned with Ash and I, to just keep an eye on the skeletons as the sun rises, kind of see where they go, what'll
Sure.
be happening.
All right, make another perception check.
Strawberry dice, don't fail me now. That's a 16.
Okay. Yeah, so keeping an eye out, it's easy to see, well, it's still dark because of the glowing of the skeletons, and then it's, as the sun comes up, it gets a little harder to see, but as the sun is rising, you see them all retreating back into the cave. And as soon as the sun actually crests over, there are no signs of any more skeletons outside.
I imagine Ashanai stirs kind of early with the sunlight, only gets 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night.
That's how I used to live.
And Ashanai actually wakes with a start, the fucking
The fucking the fucking you know?
It's also me trying to communicate as soon as I wake up.
and just fucking the second is realizing yeah, I'm not in my dream anymore. I'm awake, and says Ray, do you happen to be around?
Yes. I guess she
hammock.
did kind of over towards the sea, so she'll walk back through.
Okay.
The professor's working on some breakfast stir fry.
Delicious.
Sounds lovely.
That's what I had this morning.
Yeah, Ash and I is going to put a kettle on the fire
For that
for
tea.
the morning brew. Do y'all want any? Do any of you want any? Ash and I doesn't say y'all, unlike me. Says it all the time. Do you all wish for some tea?
I would love a cup, thank you.
Excellent. I have a red tea today.
Ooh.
That's on the
The
menu.
professor just pulls a coconut out and cracks it with his beak.
As he should.
Right. Ash and I gets us all set up and says, Ray, what were your findings for the night? I'm quite excited to hear.
The skeletons do go back into the cave once the sun starts to rise.
Awful. So we'll have to wait till nightfall.
Yeah,
Hopefully sneak
unfortunately
past.
so.
Well, this gives us time to talk to the elders, grab our bearings, and to verify my theory, which I'm quite excited for. Ash and I gets out the map and says, what I found is that I've mapped out the town, and, given that people need water and, storage and things like that, normal things for human survival in agriculturally driven societies, I mapped out all the houses, and it seems to be a pattern. Of course, maybe they just have, infrastructure and planning, but it is a simple town. But whenever I lined up the cave entrance, or at least where I estimated to be, it seems that we have our basic map of the cave. So I'm quite excited to see if I can verify that. This way, right, we might not even need to talk to the elders. What do you think?
I'm more worried about even getting information from any elders.
Right. And also, assuming who put up the wanted posters.
I'd prefer to not go back into town if it could be helped.
Right. So, I suppose just wait till nightfall?
Also, Carrie, what's the, like, composition of the town? Is it mostly, like...
We could stop by to get some
humans,
supplies, the
elves,
professor and I.
dwarves?
Um,
Do we stand out a lot? Like, are we the weirdos?
oh yeah.
That's what I thought. makes trying to blend a little harder.
Yeah, there are definitely, I mean, there are no bird folk or lizard folk in North Cimmeral at all.
One part of her nightly routine is like brushing and washing off whatever feather dye she used for the day.
Okay.
So she's probably going to reapply a different feather
Sure.
dye for today.
There are also
It's
very
me.
minimal tieflings as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we do be sticking out.
We
Okay.
do be sticking out, but at least I can change my appearance. So there is that. In fact, I can go into town for supplies. Perhaps take upon a less conspicuous form. They'd think we've probably set out for town already, given that how we stole away in the middle of the night. I can stop by and grab supplies. We won't need to talk to the elders. And what is your plan, respectively? I mean, we could do some scouting. Maybe see if there's a route on the beach we can take to avoid the skeletons. Hopefully.
I think I would be okay with checking out the cave entrance and the surrounding areas.
Which would
Just
be
fine.
ideal to do during the day, as there's no skeletons on the beach.
Yep.
All right, and Professor, what'll it be for you? Ray's going to be scouting, I'll be gathering supplies. If you can think of anything else. You could, of course, help Ray in that endeavor. I mean, if any wayward skeletons or vagabonds or anything of the sort, sea creatures, giants, shellfish, happen to be on the beach, I'm sure she could use your muscle.
Yeah. Professor will just go with Ray. We'll
Never split
reconnoiter.
the parties, baby. But
We'll-
I'm going in disguise. I'm gonna cast disguise self on this bitch.
We shall
Alright.
reconnoiter the beach.
What seems to be like the most
Like the most
The
prominent
I-
race.
well, I would say like the ideal form, so like not someone that seems like they're from out of town but not too far out of town, like someone who would be normal for them to be passing through.
Okay,
Insert-
most of the people that you see passing through tend to be like more of merchant types. There's actually a ship that goes all the way up this eastern coast, and that's all it does is go up and down this eastern coast, just transporting goods. And most of the people that work on those ships tend to be elves, half-elves, or humans.
Elves, half-elves, or humans. I'm going to go with the form of a half-elf.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to accompany them down to the beach, like walk them down there.
Okay.
Not via the way of town, so then I can pop up at the docks and walk into town from the docks.
Okay, sure. So the three of you head down sort of a roundabout way to walk
We
up
kill
the
the
beach.
fire safety.
Perfect. Up the beach instead of through the town, and once you're approaching the cave entrance, you kind of break off into two separate groups, and a disguised Ashenai goes up to the town itself. All right, so you head up into town. So we're going to be investigating the cave entrance, and then we're going to be what are we doing in
see
town?
if there's a route to sneak in.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
And then in town, we're kind of stocking up on supplies.
I'm going to both stock up on supplies and verify my map. Because I was from a distance, and now
Right.
like making it more accurate. And then I might talk to like an elder.
Okay.
Might fuck around and find out.
All right. So first off, make a perception check for me, please.
Also, is there a wanted poster around
Make
that
a
I could
perception check, please.
yoink? 18.
Nice.
Plus 3.
Okay. So you look at the post that you guys had walked by earlier, like the day before, and as you're kind of looking at it, you see 3 wanted posters stapled up against it. All of Ray.
I
And
hate this.
and it now has a 10,000 gold reward across it, and it says urgent across the
Ashina
bottom.
says, just kind of throws up her hands briefly. Mine was only 5,000 gold. And she's actually going to take one of these wanted posters and like make a show of like inspecting it, of like, oh yes, this is someone who's wanted, and fold it up. I'm probably going to keep an eye out for that and keep it, and like kind of like tear down the other ones while she's at it. I said, for you, Ray.
How much was the reward again?
10,000.
10,000.
Oh my lord.
Well, that's certainly something to ask the elder about. And pockets and all of these wanted posters. And yep, gonna make my way into town. Just making a note of that.
All right, so you pocket these posters, and as you turn, there is a woman standing.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
hello. Have you seen these posters? Would you perhaps know anything about this woman and the reward? I'm looking to come into some coin, and I thought I could help you out.
You see a human woman with kind of a slicked back Karen haircut,
No.
Oh, awful!
and she's just kind of looking you up and down for a moment. She looks at the post, and then she looks at you again. And
I thought I'd distribute some of these amongst my fellow crewmates. I know quite a few people who would be interested in such an endeavor.
make a deception check.
I'm gonna lie. I'm a lying liar. Who lies? Deception, that would be +9. Yeah, that's 5 plus 9, so that is I can't do math. Probably a 14.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah, that's something.
I am so stressed.
Such stress.
So as you're
Lying my
speaking,
ass.
yeah, as you're lying your ass off, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and then I was like, no, I should rephrase, but no, that's perfect. You're kind of glancing her over, and she has around her neck, she actually has a monocle, like on a chain, and the monocle itself, when the sun hits it, it kind of glistens with like an arcane light, and that catches your attention. But as you're done speaking, she kind of has this crooked smile kind of stretch across, like a half smile sort of thing, and she just squints at you for a moment, and she says,
Can I cast Detect Thoughts?
ooh, yeah, you can.
Didn't like that. Don't know.
Yep, I'm
Is that
going to
a-
cast Detect Thoughts. It is you focus your mind on an intelligent creature that you can see. You initially learn surface thoughts. It gets a whiz save to resist further probing. If it fails, you gain insight into reasoning, emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind. Creature can use an action on its turn to make an intelligence check versus your intelligence check. If it succeeds, the spell ends. You can also use this spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures you can't see.
Okay, so as you cast it, the first initial thought is that she can tell that you're lying. That's her first thought, is there are secrets here, why would she lie? Why would she lie? And so that's the first initial thought. I rolled an 8 on my wisdom save. So diving a little bit deeper,
So probably whenever Ray comes up, like seeing if there's thoughts about that, you know?
yeah, diving a little bit deeper, mostly she's thinking that you know where Ray is. You're hiding Ray. You're protecting Ray. Maybe you have something to do with the orb.
The orb. Ah, shit.
Go ahead and make that, was it intelligence versus intelligence to see if she
Yeah.
knows?
That's a 17.
Oh.
Plus 1. Oh, these are good dice for this character. I did the right choice.
I got a 15, so she is unaware.
Well, hold on, I gotta think for a second. All right, well, truthfully, I was hoping that nobody else would see the wanted posters and perhaps I could take the reward for myself. You know, eliminate the competition. You can have them back. And he actually gets the wanted posters and returns them to her and says, sorry.
She takes them, and then she hands one back to you, and she says, if you happen to need an extra 10,000 gold.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Can you tell me anything about... I mean, obviously, I can see what she looks like, but, like, is she dangerous? You know, should I be taking... I mean, I know you want her alive, and I'll do my best to do so, but what should I be looking out for her if I am to pursue her and capture her, hopefully?
You see her hang one of the wanted posters back up, and she actually pockets the other one. And she's turning around and just looking over her shoulder at you as she's beginning to walk away, and she says, something tells me you'd know that more than me right now. And she walks away.
Yikes. That's a yikes.
Okay, appearance slicked back Karen. There's a shiny monocle, there's magic and shit. What seems to be her ethnic background and like stature?
She holds herself in very high esteem, more like most elves that you've seen, you know, just very proper posture, just very I'm higher than you sort of. But she is human. She appears middle-aged. It's kind of hard to tell. And as for what she's wearing, nothing really gives away what she's capable of.
Good to know. I'm making a mental note of this heavily. And Ashnai just says, well, not my best moment. And kind of just brushes himself off and goes into town to find a general goods store, something that could help him on his adventures.
Sure, easy enough to find one. Is there anything specific that you would be looking for?
I mean, presumably we've been traveling together for a
Mhm.
while. Would I perhaps know the contents of my dear friend's inventories? Like, oh, I know they might have a tinderbox or like some torches, like kind of a mental inventory. Would I like kind of have a general idea?
You guys would probably have like a combined inventory that you keep mentally, so you would know what you have, what you need. Are you just kind of looking for basic supplies like for torches and
Right.
things like that going into?
Probably Pythons if it's any deeper. I mean, this
Sure.
is assuming that you guys don't have it. Pythons, rope, um, a pickaxe.
All right, so after Ash and I breaks off and heads up towards the town, you two head towards the entrance of the cave. It is the actual entrance itself is maybe 5 feet tall.
Okay.
And it just goes into the side of this sort of rocky hill that resides underneath the town.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
First, I kind of want to check out the area around and see if like there's a good path that we can sort of take from like the cover of, I assume like what the coastal, like beyond
Right.
the beach, that would, based on like kind of where all of the skeletons were, like the one that would get us there the quickest without like attracting too much attention, I guess.
Okay, so checking the entrance of this cave mouth, the rock wall, it kind of acts as a rock wall, like the hill going up. As long as you stay close to that, the town probably can't see you. But as for the skeletons, they roam sort of just the entire beach around. They didn't seem to have any specific path that they were taking. They didn't repeat the same path, like they just roamed. And if any direction that you're coming in, you're probably gonna run into them.
Okay. Then what about like this cave entrance? So you said it's like you sort of described it. Can I see in like at all very much?
You can see a little bit. It seems to be a just linear pathway inside. It's probably about 8 feet wide, and it seems to be pretty consistent as far down as you're able to see. Just going straight in.
Okay. Professor, you're with me, right?
Yes.
Anything in particular you want to check out?
Maybe see if there's any markings or etchings around the cave mouth.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Right.
Can I give him advantage if Ray's helping look as well?
Sure. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay. So that is a nat 20.
Nice.
Nice.
First one was a 3.
That was the calmest way you could have announced that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a nat 20.
And investigation. So 25 altogether.
Okay. Looking at the mouth of this cave, you don't see any like runes or etchings or anything like that. But you do see the sand kind of tracked in from the skeletons themselves. And you're able to see sort of like just dust and sand covered weapons inside. Not a lot of them, just a couple. Seems to probably be from various other people that had entered the caves and fallen pretty quickly inside.
Okay.
But there doesn't seem to be, there's no like arcane barrier over it that you can tell with that roll.
Okay.
There don't seem to be any sigils or runes or anything of that nature.
What about non-magical traps?
I don't see any of those either.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll point out the weapons, and I'll point out the sand, and sort of be like, we can use the sand as kind of a natural guide. So, when we're walking through at night,
Like it's to where they went.
yeah, you can kind of follow the sand.
Okay.
I mean, I would say, do you want to be stupid and go in?
I am a little hesitant to do that without Ashnai here with us.
Speaking
But-
of, where is Ashnai heading after the encounter with the woman?
Karen.
Yeah, with Karen.
Oh my god.
To the shop to grab the supplies. Gonna
Right.
grab a rope, pythons, those light hammers that I can throw.
Yes. Okay.
Punchy boys. I imagine I'm coming in like with other people that just came in from the docks, and there's a bit of hubbub. I'm inconspicuous probably. And I'm gonna be pretty quick about it, get in and out, and then unless anything happens in the general goods store, I don't know how exciting Wally Mart is in this small town.
Nice.
But after that, probably gonna ask around here, like probably ask the shopkeep at this goods store. It's like, oh, do you know where I can find information here in this town?
Yeah.
You seen those wanted posters up?
They would, after, I assume, like, just bagging up the stuff that you purchased.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them. What's it to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's quite the reward, I was, and I'm just passing through. You, seen anyone like that around here?
Not personally. I did have a couple people in here, last night, waving one around, saying they swear they saw her in the tavern, but, other than that...
Oof, that's potential competition. Did they buy any supplies? Look like they were gonna go get her?
Yeah, they bought some rope and some, blade sharpeners.
Oh, damn, wouldn't want to run into those guys. Man, I might
Can you
have
tell
to...
me where they are? I just have some questions.
Well,
I just wanna
hammer.
I might join up with their party, actually, if that's what they were looking for. Do you happen to know where I could find these folks? Maybe they could use the extra help.
I don't know. They're not from around here, I don't believe.
Oh, right. Well, thanks for your time, and I appreciate it. I was also wanting to talk to if you got like a governor or like a village elder, someone who knows about like the history of the town and could call the shots around here, if you know what I mean.
We've got, your best bet, and he kind of, like, you're inside the building, but he points in the direction of just up the street. Surprisingly enough, there's only two directions he could probably point, but he points you in one of the directions, and he says, I think your best bet would probably be the dockmaster.
Ah, right. I passed by on the way in, but I didn't think of that. But yeah, he's been there a while, knows who goes in and out, probably knows the area pretty well.
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
that would be your best bet.
Well, thank you so much, and appreciate it. I'll see you around.
Scoots your bags over to you.
Takes him. Have a good one. And Ashnai, as this guy leaves, and is gonna head over that way. After taking a moment to unpack the bags, save them for later. Maybe need that, and then put everything in the good old backpack.
Okay.
And then head on down to visit the dockmaster.
All right. You head down towards the dockmaster, and he is just. Have you seen Stardust?
Yes.
Yes.
You know the old dude that's guarding the wall?
Yeah!
Nice.
This guy? It's like, just very eccentric looking.
Just very old and wise looking, but as you walk up, he kind of looks at you and his eyes kind of bug out a little bit, and he says, "What can I help you with?"
It says, oh, hi. Just came in. I was told that you know everything there is to know about these here parts.
What do you want to know?
Well, you seen the wanted posters?
I've seen them. And he kind of just looks over, and there's literally one on the post. Like...
Well, I was looking to cash in on that hefty reward there. Never seen as much gold in all my life. But I figured I'd scout out the competition. I heard there were some guys that were looking to crew up and, go after her. Happen to know anything about that?
Make a persuasion check.
I just want to insert that bit from Goldman where it's like, I love gold!
Persuasion, that's going to be a +7. That's a 12 plus 7, so that'd be 19.
All right, so you're saying this, and he squints at you, and he seems to just be like looking into your soul for a moment, and and then he kind of, you almost see like his guard let down, basically. Like he kind of just drops his demeanor and turns around and starts doing like what he was doing before you approached. And as he's doing it, he says, I had a couple people over here asking me these questions earlier this morning.
Yeah?
And I pointed them in a direction. And it definitely wasn't in the direction of the pink tiefling on the beach.
Good to know. Do you happen to know what direction that was?
Where I pointed the men?
Yeah, just so I can avoid that direction.
I put them on a ship.
Excellent. Thanks for taking care of that competition, and listen, once I get that reward, I'll probably have some for your help. Consider this a front for it, and he gives this man 20 gold.
Okay, he grabs it, accepts it, puts it on his pouch, and then he is kind of looking you over for a moment. He's like, the wanted poster says wanted alive. I'm just gonna make that part real clear.
Right. No, yeah, of course. I was kind of nervous about that. I'm not much of a fighting guy myself. I'm more of a talking guy. I was hoping I could maybe convince her. She doesn't seem like real trouble. I actually met the lady that was looking after her. She didn't really say much about why she's wanted. Do you happen to know that? I kind of want to know what I'm getting myself into, like if she's dangerous or anything like that.
Don't have a clue.
Well, thank you so much, Mans. Hey, isn't that the beach? Isn't that by like where all the skeletons are at?
That's the one. And he just kind of looks over and he kind of grabs your arm and just pulls you over a step, and you can see around everything, and you can see the beach super clearly from this dock. And you just see in the distance a little pink tiefling, and
that is her. Well, I actually just stopped by the general goods store. Do you happen to know anything? I'll probably keep watch and see where she goes, but do you know anything about that cave she's checking out? Like, that seems dangerous. Like, any local legends or anything like that?
Yeah, we've had a few people try to go in, try to figure out what's going on. Most of them don't come out, or if they do, they seem to come out without their, organs.
Or flesh.
They steal the organs.
Take away their flesh.
That's awful. Well, hopefully I can convince her not to go in there, and hopefully not go in there myself. But if I do manage to get that reward, well, we'll be seeing each other again soon. Thanks, man. Offers a handshake.
Shakes your hand.
Wow, we're homies. And you know, Ash and I, as this half elven dude, is like gonna wave by and give him a smile. Like, man, Ash and I kind of feels bad for lying to this dude. So he's gonna go around the beach, like not gonna go straight towards them. And as he does, he's going to cast message to the homies and say, you've been seen. Go back.
Got it.
You've been seen. Go back. Is what comes through.
Okay.
As you're standing there, like trying to figure out if you're gonna go in or not. Oh, I'd rather not without Ash and I here. And then you just get a message in your mind. You've been seen. Go back.
You've been spotted. Mission compromised. And Ash and I is going to wait for you guys. And kind of as he's leaving, duck like behind somewhere, like into an alley, and shift back into their original form with
Before you do that, I need you to make a perception check.
Am I being followed?
It's Karen.
That's a
Karen.
That's a 10 plus perception plus 3, so that's a 13.
Okay.
Move along.
Okay, moving on. Yeah. Ash and I, being none the wiser, is still going to duck in somewhere where they would presumably be unseen, like maybe like in plain sight thing. So like maybe go into the tavern or something like that.
Sure.
And like shift out and then like leave. Like this guy entered and someone else left, but you know, you'd be none the wiser.
Right, yeah.
So Ash and I is gonna do that, and then going to like go out the back door and like go to meet up with the homies. Hopefully I don't lead them straight to them. I'm gonna go to camp, actually.
Okay. All right,
which would be probably a further walk for for Ray and the professor.
Right. So, you two, you get the message. Who did you message that to? Did you message it to the professor or to Ray?
Probably Ray, since Ray is the subject in question.
All right. So, Ray, you get this message right into your brain. You've been seen. Go back.
Okay.
Oh.
Professor, I think we should head back into the cover. I think Ash and I just messaged me saying that we've been spotted, and probably best to make ourselves scarce.
Ah. Well, I will follow your lead.
Okay. Probably also heading back to camp, just knowing that like we found what we can here, and that was where we were gonna rendezvous with.
Okay. Both of you make a perception check.
I shoot.
I got a 25.
Oh.
My sweet +6 perception.
That'd be a 10.
All right. So Professor is like, I will follow your lead, and he just turns and looks back towards the direction that you would be heading, but is waiting for you to walk first. And as you're turning, you glance up at the hill that is up above this cave mouth, and as you look up, you see 5 figures.
Shit.
And
looking down.
I tell who that is. Do
Yeah,
I recognize
You
them?
recognize all of them.
Fuck.
Oh.
Okay.
They're not moving. They're...
Shit. I have greater invisibility, but it only works on me, or it only has one person, right?
Greater, I think.
Let's see. You are a creature you touch. Fuck.
Also, y'all are in sand.
True.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, Ray's going to softly speak to the professor and is going to say, we're gonna have to split up. Meet back at camp, but don't head directly in that direction. Ready?
He just sort of look. Can I like glance over my shoulder, but very surreptitiously?
Sure. Knowing where Ray was looking, and then now
Plus,
how Ray is acting.
I do have eyes on the side of my head, not the front. So like,
yeah, you can see the figures now.
okay.
Okay. And then I guess we're gonna split, and Ray is gonna head towards. So like, okay, I'm imagining like coast with like the brush, and our camp is somewhere over here, and then like beach, and then the town's right here,
Yes.
right? And the cave entrance faces that way.
Yes.
So she'll head like straight up into the cover, or maybe even back a little ways into the cover, and then she'll like go through the forest, sort of loop around. Cool.
Where is the professor running?
Oh no. Well, to bring back an old quote, I cannot move fast for I have tiny legs. See, the old professor would have just walked straight at the guys and been like, "Hello, how are you doing?" But that he's become more intelligent than that. Not by much, but he's become more intelligent, more street smart. Every 5 of me is saying just go into the cave and see if they follow me.
Oh
Oh my god.
But
Gun!
you know what? I will just chill. I'll just like sit down and put my feet in the water and pull out like a flute, and I'm just gonna chill.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So the moment Ray takes off running, the professor calmly walks over and sits down on the beach and is just
pull out some almonds. I pull out my almonds.
Yep. All right. So Ray takes off running. You sprint. You hear the wind just rushing past your ears, and you hear Vanessa's voice yell, "Radiant, stop!" Are you still?
I'm going. I'm
okay.
running.
You're just sprinting. You sprint through the woods. You hear the sound of footsteps behind you. You know that while you are a group of clerics, you know that's not the only skill level that a lot of them have.
Right.
And let's see here. You know that Carter is definitely the footsteps that you hear closest behind you, with the most speed as he is just sprinting towards you. You hear them all behind you, but as you're sprinting, you know he is the one that is closest to you, and you are sprinting around.
Can I cast Sending?
Sure.
To Ray. I'm gonna cast Sending and say, status update, where are you?
You can respond to this message.
Currently being pursued in the woods. We'll get back to you if I don't die.
Which woods? Which woods?
You're shouting into nothing.
Yeah, Ash and I is going to take off and search for the woods closest to the beach.
All right.
Oh, Carrie, I was just saying, quick. I give it like 5 minutes of Ray running, I get up and I start following.
Okay, sounds good. Ray, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay, that is not my strong suit. Let's go. 18.
18. Alright, so you, as you're sprinting, this just arcane blast of magic slams into a tree right beside you as you're running by, splinters the wood, and you just kind of like dodge and just keep running forward as Carter is now slinging spells.
Would I be able to like duck behind like a tree or a bush or something and cast greater invisibility on myself and then try and find somewhere to like hunker down?
Okay, so as you're sprinting, you see a pretty good sized like just bush up against a tree, and you just sprint and you just dive behind this thing. As you hit the ground, it kind of knocks the air out of you. You're already out of breath, but you slam onto your side and you brace yourself and you cast greater invisibility. You go invisible, and your heart is just pounding in your ears as you're looking around. You hear the sound of the footsteps catching up to you. You actually hear Carter not far behind you. Like you jumped, went invisible, and then you hear Carter's footsteps passing by. As he sprints past you, still looking for you. You are invisible. Make a stealth check for me. I believe invisibility makes it with advantage.
I am not sure. I do know that, although I guess we weren't planning on going in yet, and all of the stuff is left at camp, so she's not wearing her armor. Because I don't know how that cancels out if I have disadvantage on stealth.
If you're not wearing armor, then it doesn't do that.
Okay, well, before I fit, I'm gonna go ahead and yoink that armor off real quick, so it's actually on my sheet. Yoink it. Okay. I get advantage?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, that's a 14 plus 0. 14. Okay. I'm so stressed. I've never felt so mortal than in this exact moment.
Being hunted for sport.
Are you staying where you are?
Yes.
Alright, so you're invisible, you're trying to steady your breathing. That's the hardest part, is trying to steady your breathing after sprinting. You had seen Carter run past. And it does solid 10 seconds before Shane runs past. Okay. Tristan runs past.
Okay.
Vanessa runs past. Okay. And Blake, who is the last one to run past, sprints, stops, looks in your direction. Can't see you, but looks in your direction, and you see recognition from the way that a part of the branch is just pushed down underneath your arm. Blake looks at that and just stares for a second, and then you hear Vanessa yell, "Blake, do you see her?" And Blake goes, "No."
A homie!
And follows.
Okay.
A few minutes pass, and Professor, you are sprinting up. You now hear the Professor approaching you in your hiding place. Nonetheless, does not know that you're there whatsoever.
I would like to, in my headcanon, say that because he has spent a lot of time becoming a weeb, he now anime runs. He Naruto runs.
Good choice.
So you just see the Professor like bouncing off of trees. I took that tome of quickness. I read the shit out of it.
Yoink him then if he's in the trees.
He's in the trees.
I'm gonna become like Predator, just like.
Get your dog.
I will say, while that's happening, Ash and I, you were just kind of looking around near some trees, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
They're in the trees. Which trees? 12 plus perception 3, so that's 15.
Okay. So you're looking around for a little while, and then you hear just a stampede of people, and you kind of duck back behind a tree, and you see...
Yeah, I fucking do.
You see this entire group of clerics running by. One of them you recognize as Karin, and they are sprinting down, and they're actually like they make their way towards the edge of town basically and stop, and you see but I'm gonna stop calling her Karin. Her name is Vanessa, and I had already said that. So you see Vanessa like curse and just throw something down on the ground and is looking around, and she just looks over at Blake and says, "You're gonna find her," and that's it. They start making their way back up to town.
Okay. I am noted. They don't have her. I'm going to send a message to Ray and say they're going back into town. Rendezvous back at camp.
And I'll respond and say, "Got it."
You can't respond to message.
I can't.
Sending
yes.
you can.
Oh,
Message
damn it.
no.
Which I actually don't think I think I looked at it and went, maybe I should take that, and then I didn't.
That's fine.
Yeah, I didn't.
So, yeah, that's the take. So Ashenite is going to make her way back to camp.
All right, we'll say Ray grabs the professor's attention, sprinting by, and the three of you reconvene at camp. And it's probably, by the time all of this has gone down and you get back, it's probably like 3 in the afternoon at this point. But you are back at camp together.
So once, like, Ashenite is pacing whenever, like, around the campfire, just making tracks everywhere as she's waiting for y'all to return. And as soon as y'all break the clearing, she just kind of whips around and says, it's you. Whew. What happened?
I ran. That's what happened. I ran for my life.
I'm glad. I figured as much. You got my message. So they went back into town. I haven't seen anything from them since. So I guess those are your friends.
Friends, yeah. I do know them.
Why do they want you back so badly that they're willing to pay 10,000 gold for your head? Your living head.
My living head.
Not your head on a spike.
I mean, they probably, at the most core, probably just want to be sure that the orb has been destroyed. And I mean, an additional plus would probably just be to have me back in the guild, but
that Karen, the sorry, that's a old proverbial term. It's for a very malicious woman.
Vanessa, okay.
A malicious woman of the mainland. She seems very intent on finding you. It seems like this man Blake is the one tasked with finding you. I overheard them on their way out of the wood.
Yeah.
Blake, what do you know about him?
She's the only one I care about.
Vanessa?
No, Blake.
Oh, Blake, sorry.
You're good. I think she saw me. I can't be sure.
She didn't
but
catch
she
you.
didn't. No.
So, seems there's some mutual care, but if you're spotted in front of the others, I don't think that she can afford such leniency. It's best
Probably not.
Where did they spot you?
You've got no idea. You just ran.
Somewhere in the woods.
Because
they spotted us first on the beach.
Okay, so in front of the cavern?
Yep.
I waited for a few moments before following afterwards, but I don't think they were interested in a small parrot.
That's,
If only they knew what I had done, then maybe they would be.
That's the worst fear, unfortunately. They know that you're interested in the cavern, so for whatever reason, so we're going to have to be very careful.
Or we just eliminate the problem and get rid of them. And
That's
when the professor
true.
says that, he sort of like cracks his talons together. You guys can see like one of his astral arms sort of starts to form over. It's like bigger than his and almost cocoons his arm, but it's made of like, it's sort of feathers of like golden red fire that sort of snap and pop. And you can see some of the old fire back in his eyes.
Professor.
Do be aware that there is 5 of them and 3 of us, and they can hold their own.
Not only that, but I assume there is some feeling there, Ray.
Yeah.
And we drag them into the woods and light the woods on fire with them in it.
No.
Professor, I would caution against such action and still yourself. Calm thoughts.
Inner
Fire-
peace.
Your Tai
Inner
Chi.
peace.
The fire fades. He
Want
just
some
like
tea?
he
Inner peace.
bows his head acknowledgingly and sort of sits down to meditate.
Inner peace. All right.
Bring it with us.
We were going to stay until nightfall, but I'm not sure if that's an option. That's going to be the best option to avoid our skeletal friends, but not so much so to avoid our other friends. Though perhaps the skeletons upon the beach can lure them at bay, take care of both of our problems at once. What are your
Almost use them
thoughts?
like a buffer.
Yes, indeed. While they're taking care of the skeletons, or the skeletons are taking care of them, we can steal away into the cave. Either way, we still wait until nightfall. We won't light the fire tonight. No reason to bring attention to ourselves, and well, it was just the full moon last night, so there will still be moonlight.
Wouldn't any light one like an almond?
I would love an almond in these trying times. Thank you.
I pour some of Ms. Rose's almonds out for them.
No tea tonight. Can't afford the fire.
No.
Fidgets
I pull out-
immediately. Can't have tea.
I pull out 2 of my mini kegs and I
Oh.
straw. Thunk.
Tell me that's not an IPA.
No, these are the special ones. These are ciders I picked up on the
Oh.
journey over
Ooh.
here. They're pineapple.
Bless you, Professor.
I just,
And Ash and I just
Slurps that shit.
actually
it's like
can't
the
really
down. It's
No,
like the,
you have a.
it's like
I have a
the
beak,
down
so
east, the down
takes
east
out
cider.
takes out the straw and
Just
just
dips the-
glug 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 glug.
Yeah.
Just kind of pours a little in the mouth and as birds do.
birds do.
You know, unfortunately, the straw is not an option for me.
Like, I wonder if Ray ever finds herself trying to eat and drink like a bird. Just being around
Probably-
birds
Just
all
like
the
not
time.
even thinking.
She's like
about
having
it.
an existential crisis of like, am I a bird? Am I a bird?
Am I a bird?
Who am I?
Am I a
That was-
bird? Is I
Am I
bird?
a tiefling? Or am I a bird?
Just like that song from the Am I a Muppet?
Yeah, Muppet.
Or am I a man? I was just thinking of that.
What a great song. An amazing song.
So that was eventful. My findings, I ran into Karen as she seems very keen on finding you. Thought that I was involved, but luckily I was a young lad, elven lad at the time, so that wasn't so much an issue. The seems like many people are mobilizing to search for you, and the dockmaster, bless that man, he seems to be turning people away. Seems to be at least a little bit caring in that regard. Made friends with him a little bit, but
What a great guy.
I think we have our plan, at least for the most part. Whew, my heart's can't have tea. We're about to run into both skeletons and your dear friends, and have I mentioned how much I hate disguising? It's a necessary evil, but I find it's not quite my thing anymore. Spend so much time in your life not being yourself, and then all of a sudden you can be yourself, and then you don't know who you are, and then
Ash and I's feathers are just ruffling more and more and more by the second.
Like, I hate this.
and these people want the orb destroyed, and who knows who they've mobilized, who else they've mobilized in search for the.
You're fluffing up again.
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Yes, you're right, inner peace. Oh,
Just
God.
drink your booze and calm down.
Okay. Feeling a little bit lightheaded. I haven't done so much running in years. How are you feeling, Ray? I mean, I know I'm quite stressed about this whole situation, but I imagine it must be on a whole another level for you.
It almost doesn't feel real.
Well, we're gonna get you out of here, and I don't know how you feel about that. Do you wish to return with your brethren, or?
I think after finding out that everything that I learned from them was a falsity about the orb, we don't exactly have the same interests.
Right. That makes a great deal of sense. I'm sorry, though. I imagine that can be quite jarring for the senses in many ways.
Yeah.
I think we all had a bit of a realization that one night.
Yeah. Things haven't really been the same since then. I don't really think we've ever talked about that.
I think you've all actively avoided it.
Yeah. 1,000%.
We didn't really talk about it at all. We just kind of.
All right, so what's your plan? Not to rush you or
Yeah.
anything, but
We're going to wait till nightfall, go to the beach, presumably lure them out onto that hillside, and then make a run for it for the beach. And then make a run for the cavern, and
For
hopefully
the cave.
for the cave, and hopefully the our friends and the skeleton should distract each other.
We could also do something where we could lure them to the cave by way of the forest. I can predator my way around from the tree branches, pick a couple of them off, and then whoever makes it, kills them together.
I'd prefer not to confront them directly if we don't have to. If we confront them, hopefully it's after the skeletons have busted them up a little bit, so to speak. Weakened them, and then hopefully we can do what we must, whatever that may be.
I would also request that if it comes to confrontation, we can leave the half tiefling, half human woman, for the most part,
Blake,
alive. Yes.
are you associates? Affiliated, perhaps?
You could say that.
Intimately, even?
Are you associates?
Who you fuck?
They were roommates!
You were
Associates!
associates.
Do they fuck?
Well, I wouldn't say that. You can be associates without being so intimate. But I'm not one to make assumptions about the nature of your.
I'm not one to make associates.
Well, not really something that I'm able to do in my line of work. I wouldn't be opposed,
Well,
but I'm
Ash
not
and
one
I-
to make assumptions. Some
Ash and I-
Freudian slips, that was.
If you're worried about associates, I did want to inform you, but there wasn't a good time. Some of the gifts you accepted back on Marikawat were wedding proposals. So
I just thought that they were gifts. I've left
did-
3 husbands and wives behind.
well, now you've got about 3 or 4 more.
Oh, I don't think I'm ready for that commitment. I don't even know any of them.
Well, if we go back, then you'll have time to get to know them.
But I've
Te-
already...
Tika is a very lovely lady. She makes an excellent coconut rum.
Oh, I could use one of those right about now.
What a
I
revelation.
can't believe this. But Ray, you and Blake, are you associated? Are you? I'm just wondering if I
Have you
should...
ever seen a pink tiefling turn red? Because that is
No.
what has happened. Yes, something of the sort. It's getting late. We should...
Yes, I quite agree. Perhaps we should turn in, get some rest before we, go for, that.
Yep,
All right.
go for that.
So,
Married.
all right. So you guys get a little bit of rest before nightfall, and once night does fall, you head towards the cave entrance. Heading there, you see a closer look at the skeletons coming out of this entrance, and their heads. It almost seems to glow like out of their eyes and their mouths. It's sort of like a really light green glow, just enough to light kind of their torso, basically, as they're just roaming along. As you get closer, they sort of act like zombies in movies. Like, as you get closer, they notice you and they kind of turn to look at you and they begin moving towards you, but they are very slow. So tell me exactly how you would like to lead these skeletons, or position them, or avoid them.
Well, are we being followed first?
Make a perception check. You all can if you'd like.
All of us?
Okay.
Yeah.
We being followed.
23.
8.
Damn.
I know, these dice are not failing you this time. They really did last time.
An unnatural 20.
Nice.
A dirty 20.
Okay, so you do not. You're pretty confident you're not being followed at the moment.
Okay.
And these skeletons, I don't know how to RP this, at your level, aren't hard to work with. You can lead them in whatever way you want, work around them, and you can easily avoid being hit by any of them. But if they get too grouped up, that's when it kind of becomes a little more of a problem.
So there's this hill above the cavern entrance. Could we perhaps position ourselves above the cavern entrance and, drop down and then just go in and kind of just avoid them that way?
Yeah, I mean, none seem to be directly at the entrance, so you could do that. You will be in view of the town if you are above that hill, though, so that's entirely your decision.
Well, also they're also going to have to go through the skeletons, so if they do spot us, then that's their problem. So I imagine we're going to go at this stealthily, like in our movement from town to not from town, from the woods to kind of go out of our way to go over this hill.
Yeah, I'll say all of you make a stealth check.
Oh boy, okay. Ooh. Out of 3. That's sweet disadvantage. It's a rough one.
That would be. Hold on a second.
10 plus 6, so that's 16.
Haha.
All right.
That would be a 10.
Okay. So you all make your way up through
Clunk, 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 clunk.
through the edge of this town, and as you're reaching basically right above the cave entrance, as you're passing by that same post, it now has wanted posters, dead or alive.
Oh.
Oh,
Well then.
no!
And as you're seeing this, you kind of freeze for a moment, and then you hear, "Hey, isn't that her?" And you look over, and there are a few townsfolk that turn, and they're pointing
Shit.
directly at you. What are you doing?
I mean, I'm booking it for the cave.
I'm summoning. I'm like full on.
Wait, I'm going to make a minor.
Tucson Karoma.
Can I make a minor? Is that okay? I'm gonna make a. Could I make a minor illusion of Ray, or would that be a major illusion? I have minor illusion.
I don't think it could be a minor. I think it has to be a major.
Ah, fuck.
If you're making like a fully embodied
No,
creature.
you know what? I'm going to disguise myself as Ray.
Okay. Oh shit. All right. So you're standing there. The professor. Describe what you look like right now, Professor.
So as you guys are standing there, you see like that fire start to like grow up his arms as he sort of like clashes his wrist together and then snaps out. And as he does that, the sort of astral fire like ripples across. So it looks like fire, but also like constellations and stars glow in it. And it like walks around in like giant claws glowing around his hand. But then also sort of you see sort of growing from like just above his shoulder and above his head, like the massive muscled torso of this huge dude with a giant flaming think Ghost Rider, but parrot.
Okay.
So just a giant parrot skull with fire just burning and roiling off of it.
Okay.
And his voice almost sounds like 3 or 4 voices speaking at once. And
All right, and as you're doing that, there's a ray on each side of you now, and did you say he was yelling something?
Yeah, he just pretty much just roars, "Stand back, or the flames of Tuto Corona shall consume this infinitesimal spot."
All right, so Ray is turning around and booking it towards the entrance. Professor, I need you to make a intimidation check for me.
Okay.
And what is Ray
2.0.
doing? Yeah. What is Ray 2.0 doing?
Ray is going to. How many people are seeing this? Is that?
It looks like a group of 3, but as they're pointing, like, isn't that her? By the way, the reward is at 15,000 gold pieces. So as they're pointing, many people are paying attention.
So it's me actually, and I like call out to bring attention to myself, and then I run in towards the woods actually.
Okay. Make a deception check.
Okay. I'm a pretty good liar, generally speaking. I lie even to myself. That's a plus 10 to my deception, so that would be 14 plus 10. That's 24. That's too convincing.
All right, so you sprint off in that direction. The majority of the town is beginning to follow you. Professor, what is your intimidation roll?
It would have been a nat 20, but I have a -1, so it's a 19.
Okay.
That hurts.
I know.
So, as you say this, the few people that saw the real Ray run off are too frightened of you to approach currently. You see some of them draw their blades and they're standing there, but they know that the real Ray ran that direction. And most of the other town is just seeing, as the attention's being drawn, they're seeing everybody run towards the Ray that's going towards the woods, so that's where most of them are heading.
Yay.
All right, so Ray, you are sprinting. You stand above this cave's entrance now.
I'm gonna drop down and jump in.
All right.
I'm not gonna like go in too far. I want to be able to still see the entrance so I can see like if anyone
the party is
appears.
so fucking split right now.
All right, go ahead and make an
this is
athletics check
terrible.
for me. I love it. I'm here for it. What are you talking about?
That is 11 plus 1, 12.
Okay, so you land down. You kind of feel your ankle kind of crunch a little bit, but nothing too serious, and you just turn and you run into the cave. As you run in, you just kind of run in basically as far as you could see before, and then just kind of rest back against the cave wall. Professor, what is your next move?
Ooh, quick question, Carrie. How
Yes.
long did we rest for? I want to know if I can
It
get
was
that
like-
sweet 4th level spell back.
It
Spell
was 3
slot back.
p.m. to like nightfall.
Yeah, so you would have gotten a full rest in.
Whew, okay, cool. Thanks. Just preparing.
Well, seeing the group that they're starting to split, and there are some that are still like dropping their army.
You're
they're all-
standing off. with
They're all
them.
townsfolk, so if I flick them, they're gonna die.
No mass murder this time. Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Yeah, there's no.
No, there's none of that.
No,
Get that
his
shit outta
friends
here.
are in danger.
The inner peace is out the window.
Yeah, the
It's
inner peace
gone.
is
Outer
gone.
peace.
The minute Ghost Parrot appeared, all the things were off the table. Ooh, I forgot something, Carrie.
You can fly, yes.
Well, no, I know I can fly, but when I summon my astral shape, any target I see within 10 feet of me has to make a dexterity saving throw or be pushed back 10 feet.
Ooh.
So shoot. I was just looking it over. I was like, dang, I should remember that. I will say the group that is running after Real Ray, I'm gonna have them be the ones that are like blasting
Absolutely.
backward.
Yeah, so what's the DC on that?
Let me check. It is against mine. So they have to beat a 15.
Okay, so they're not approaching. They're afraid. They've drawn their weapons, and as they're looking, as that wave slams into them, all of them are blasted backwards onto their butts. Like they just land. You hear some of their swords clatter, and then they turn and they begin picking stuff back up. Anything you're doing directly after that?
Like I could cast Shillelagh on my claws, but I can't do it. Wait, hold on a second. I'm like trying to see if the level of fuckery I want to do right now is gonna work. I don't think it is though. No, dang it! I can't cast Shillelagh on my claws. Sadness.
Ooh.
Okay, what I will do.
I'll allow it.
You'll allow me to cast
Yeah,
Shillelagh on my claws?
That's fucking awesome.
Okay.
Shillelagh.
So I will cast Shillelagh on my claws, and I want to kind of have it be like, you know, like Armadillo from Ben 10, how he has like the big claws. Like mine go from like regular challenge to like those. So like my arms are down like twice as long from the Shillelagh.
That's disgusting, and I love it. Okay.
And okay, so I'll cast that, and then I'm just gonna like smash my arms down towards the ones that are running after Ash and I, and see, this is my only thing with the way the Ash was. I wish it had like a shockwave attack and not just like punch.
While you're figuring that out, Ash and I, you are sprinting towards the woods. You hear the majority of townsfolk running after you. What is your intent here? What do you?
Okay, I'm gonna go into the woods, and as soon as I can like disappear behind the tree, I am going to drop my disguise, act as if I'm running after her, and then I'm going to cast a minor illusion further into the woods of Ray's voice saying, "Leave me alone!"
Okay, make a deception check for me, with advantage.
Yeah, baby! Alright, that one's a 14 plus 10, 24. That one's a 1 natural plus
Ooh.
10, so 11. So 24.
All right, we'll resolve that in a moment. Ray,
Yes.
I need you to make a strength saving throw with disadvantage.
Oh. Okay.
That rat seems pretty into
You
the game.
better work, bitch.
You better work, bitch.
Strength saving. That's a 9.
All right, so you're standing, you're trying to catch your breath, you're looking out towards this cave entrance, and then you feel a hand push on your shoulder and an arm up against your throat. pinning you on the wall, and then you see, dropping the greater invisibility, you see Vanessa standing in front of you.
Oh, that bitch.
No!
That bitch.
I should have seen this coming! Hi!
What are you doing?
Hi, Vanessa. Let me think. Hold on. I don't play a lot of spellcasters. I'm very overwhelmed.
No worries. Now the skeletons, too, are noticing movement inside the cave, and they're all actually turning towards the cave, and they're beginning to make their way towards the cave entrance. Back to the professor while you look at your spells.
Thank you.
Do I see Vanessa up here?
Nope.
No, they're in there.
Yeah, they've dropped down in the cave. You're still up on the hill.
Okay. Then, because I can fly, I will sort of be like, adios, motherfuckers! And just like bounce off the back of the hill, flipping them off with my giant arms, and just float down. And, I mean, that's what, probably like 30, 40 feet of me floating down. So yeah, that's my whole turn.
All right.
So I will be like, boom!
And then when you like land at the entrance, it's Vanessa and Ray.
I'm just
Alright, so
you with my giant firearms. Oh, hello.
well, as you land, you actually land right in front of a few skeletons that are making their way into the cave. You didn't quite notice this because you went through backwards, but as you're looking around, you are surrounded by these skeletons and you're just shoving them away. Ash and I, most of the crowd of people are making their way up towards you, and they hear the voice of Ray shouting off in the distance, and everybody's yelling, "She went that way!" And everybody's just sprinting, kind of like working together, but wanting to be the first one there at the same time. Yeah. So they're all sprinting in that direction. What are you doing?
I'm like gonna act like I'm pursuing for like a few seconds, like part of the crowd.
Okay.
Then as soon as I know that they're going that way, I'm going to split off and I'm gonna run back.
All right.
Are you still disguised as me?
No, I dropped my disguise.
Okay.
All right. So Ray,
Yes.
what would you like to do?
Okay. I'm gonna say, this is really inconvenient for me. I would prefer if you flee, and then I would like to try and cast command and have her flee.
All right. I roll a save for that, correct?
Yes, it's wisdom 14. She probably isn't gonna do it, but I'm gonna try.
Make an insight check. Make an insight check for me.
Okay. Ooh, not awesome. That's a 9.
Okay,
No,
so
no.
Stupid fucking dice.
so you say that, and she lets you go, and she goes, "Sure, Ray." And she just takes a step back. And then you see her draw her dagger from her hip and just aim it in your direction, waiting for you to make a move. The flee did not work.
Damn it. I figured as much.
All right, so Professor, you land down, you shove these skeletons away like they're nothing, and as you look into the cave, you see Karen holding a dagger to Ray, just kind of standing, holding it like if she were to lunge forward, it would be kind of like abdomen area. Just holding it almost like hip level-ish, and as you're looking in, yeah, what do you do?
I will. I'm a monk. I can fast, but not yet, which sucks. I will blast forward, and I'm just gonna like take my big old arms and just.
Okay, so
Vanessa.
first,
Yes.
I'm gonna have you make a strength check for me.
Okay. Ooh, because I'm a monk, I can use my wisdom modifier instead of strength.
Perfect.
15?
Okay. So, as you go to just
Hello, Sir Cat?
I don't know what that was. As you go to sprint forward, you slam into something a little prematurely. You weren't expecting to run into anything here. As you slam into this, the greater invisibility fades from them, and you just completely knocked the fuck out of Carter. Who you slammed
fuck that
into.
Dude.
He slams down, and you just hear him like grunting in pain as he just lays on the ground. So you've run into him. It's kind of thrown you off a little bit, but you can continue going if you'd like, or you can deal with Carter. That's entirely up to you.
When if he looks up at me, it's just like the anime where like my eyes are just shadowed over. And it's just so then I will just go up and I will smash. I'll do my 2 unarmed strikes into Vanessa.
All right.
So that's a 7. That doesn't matter. Ooh, 15.
15. 15 just hits.
Oh yes. Okay. So that, because of my shillelagh, that's a D8.
Beautiful.
I'd love to see it.
8 damage total. Can I pin her against the wall with my arm? Like. Or just if it's just a smash, that's fine. I was just gonna like smash and then.
Yeah, you can pin her. You can pin her.
Okay, so just big hand over her, as I'm just.
Boom.
Yeah, like you no touch.
All right, Ash and
I'm still running back to the cave.
Okay.
How am I doing progress that way?
I'll say you're sprinting back. Are you going around like to beachside, or are you going back towards town to just drop down?
Drop down.
All right, I'll say you can make it there. Then you sprint over. You see now the citizens that were aware of who the real Ray was. They're standing back up, and you see that they have their swords, and they seem to be arguing amongst themselves, like she went that way, and they're like, "Did you see that fucking bird?" And then they're just
Yeah.
that's what they're arguing about.
Would you say they're distracted?
They're pretty distracted, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I won't bother.
Would you like to drop down?
Yeah. I would.
All right, so you sprint over, drop down. You actually land on one of the skeletons, and he just like slams into nothing.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
She steps and steps into the cave and says, "What did I miss?" And then there, I imagine, is everybody.
Yeah.
There's Karen. There's fucking there's what's his name? Carlon or
Carter.
Carter.
He's just been
there's
knocked the fuck out.
Carter on the ground. Professor, it seems you have that handled.
At this point, we're gonna roll initiative.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna go for it. That would be a 2 plus 3, so a 5.
I also rolled a 5.
I rolled a 17.
All right, so
I feel like I should have pink one.
Ash and I, as you are stepping in here, you step in and you're kind of looking, and you go to talk to the professor, and then you just see a sword swinging for your face.
Ah! Oof. Fuck.
That's gonna be a 14.
My AC is 14. So
Okay, so that just hits.
Rip.
So like I probably go to duck, but fuck, ow.
That's gonna be 7 points of damage as the sword. You go to duck, and it manages to just slice kind of up just the top of your head, and you kind of glance over, and they are like flourishing the blade and slamming it back towards you again, towards your midsection.
Oh, who is this?
You haven't seen this one yet.
Right.
That's gonna be a 15 to hit, so that's gonna be eight more points of damage as the blade just slices into your midsection.
And 2 attacks.
Oh, gee.
After that, Vanessa, now held up against this wall by the professor, She looks at you and then just pushes her hands out like this, and you see tiny shards of what almost looks like diamonds exploding outward and almost like dancing around. I'm gonna have you make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Okay. 19.
Okay.
Woo! Good.
Get a plus
shit,
5
Professor.
to wisdom saving throws.
All right, so you're gonna take 6 points of radiant damage. As these diamonds are swirling around and just like slicing into your skin, you're able to avoid most of them. You kind of ruffle out your feathers, and you're able to just push some of them
Excuse me,
away.
ma'am. You're not allowed to be Emma Frost, bitch.
Bitch. All right, and at that point, you see Shane appearing at the cave entrance, kind of just shoving back some of the skeletons that are coming in. Just like one hit swing, pushing the skeletons away. And now it is the professor's turn.
All right. Well, down to 40 hit points out of my 46. Because even at level 8, I'm squish. I'm just gonna keep punching her into the wall. Just.
All right.
All right. So first unarmed strike is a 17.
That hits.
The other one's a 5.
That will miss.
Ooh, 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And I'm just gonna kind of like pin her up against the wall with my big hand.
Just shove her up against again. Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably up to like her waist, but I'd be like, bitch,
Can I?
Just-
bat me.
Just for flair, as you shove her up against this, she goes to try to stab your arm and just stabs through feathers and like nothing else, and she just can't quite get you off of her. Were you about to say something, Sage?
Oh, can I like shout out something to my homies?
Sure.
Yes.
It is going to be both of your guys' turns, so you can decide if you go at the same time. You can decide if one of you goes before the other, but yeah, you can shout something out.
Okay. How far away is Ray from me?
Ray is probably like maybe 30 feet into from the entrance.
So she's on the other side of like everyone, and
Yes.
she's in between. Like she's on one end, and then the skeletons are on the other, and then everyone else is in the middle.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, I'm going to. Yeah. I mean, how else are you supposed to communicate in battle? So Carter's on the ground. This guy's hacking and slashing at my ass.
Carter was on the ground. We just saw Shane, right?
Yeah, Shane
At
is
the
the one that is
entrance?
pushing I almost said vampires. It's pushing the
skeletons
skeletons back.
And then we have Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa's pinned up against the wall, and Tristan is the one that was slashing at you.
Here, I can.
Reaction. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do.
I'm gonna put the names in the chat for everybody,
Okay,
if that helps.
that does a lot. Damn, is Blake the one hacking and slashing, or is that Tristan?
You have not seen Blake.
All right. Well, is it an elf that is hacking and slashing at me?
Tristan is an elf, yeah.
And that's the one that's attacking me right now.
Yes.
Oh, fucking fuck you, Tristan. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I am going to disengage, and I'm going to run towards Ray, and like past everyone, run towards Ray, past the professor, and then I'm going to cast as a bonus action. Damn, it says up to 6 living creatures. Can I just choose myself as all 6 living creatures? Just
Yes.
kidding.
You can.
Yes?
Yeah, go for it.
would I? That would only give me 1d4, right? Like still?
Yeah.
Yeah, sad. Does anyone else need healing? I'm gonna heal Carter, actually.
I'll be okay for right now.
Okay. Ah,
I
damn.
mean, if you have extra, you might as well just throw some at. Like, if you can do up to 6 without affecting anything, you might as well just.
Wait, would they have had potions at the good store?
I don't know.
That
Here,
seems
probably
like a
not.
Specialty item.
Yeah, they probably would not have.
Yeah, damn it. I'm kind of dying. So I did that, and you know what? So that spends my movement, my action, right?
Yes.
Because I disengaged, so that Tristan can attack. All right, so I'm by Ray. I'm taking a defensive stance, and to Ray, I mean, I'm kind of gonna have my voice as lowered as I can. I'm gonna say, get him towards the entrance. I have an idea, and stay back. You know.
All right.
And I'm going to relay this to Ray, the defense.
All right, Ray, you're up.
Trying to get them towards. I wonder if I have anything that pushes
So like
anyone
push
back.
them, attack them at a range, you know. Anything to keep them pinned between us and the skeletons and slightly further away from us. Preferably within 10 feet of each other, for reasons.
Could I argue that Guardian of Faith would be able to knock them back?
Read it for me.
Because it says a large spectral guardian appears and hovers for the duration in an unoccupied space of your choice, and you can see within range. It occupies the space and is indistinct except for a gleaming sword and shield emblazoned with the symbol of my deity, blah blah.
That could be like a barrier to keep them from rushing back towards us.
That's true, but then we're gonna close off. Any creature hostile to you that moves to a space within 10 feet of the guardian for the first time on a turn must succeed on a dex saving throw. Then it takes 20 radiant damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one.
Okay, so I will say, you can cast that to do that. You can forego the damage to push back, if you'd like.
That seems fair.
That would be
That does seem fair, but 20
Ahead.
is such a good amount of damage that I don't want to
No.
carry.
so though, and that would put a barrier between us and them. So the only one we would be dealing with would be because presumably this would be placed ahead of the professor and Vanessa. Or
Right.
if we want to leave the professor to his own devices. I mean, I'm sure Professor would be allowed to move past this guardian, presumably. So that's up to you guys wanted to do. Trap Vanessa in here with us, or trap them in with the professor.
All of those are terrible options.
Just go full Rorschach. You're not stuck. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
Okay, I think what instead is I'll just cast a ranged attack
Okay.
just to sort of try and keep them at bay. I'm going to do,
But that's good to put into your pocket for like next turn.
yeah. I'll just go ahead and use Word of Radiance. It's cantrip. And
Okay.
I think I can, it doesn't even say how many. It just says each creature of your choice that you can see within range.
Sweet.
Is everyone presumably in range?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm gonna do that. They have to succeed on a Constitution saving throw, and it's DC 14.
Con save. All right. So that's a natural 20 for Tristan.
Okay, fuck
Oh.
you, Tristan.
Fuck you, Tristan.
That's an 8 for Vanessa.
Haha, bitch!
17 for Carter. And a 4 for Shane.
Okay, so 2 out of 4, I'll take it.
Yeah, so
So
Shane
they
and
take
Vanessa.
2d6.
Ooh.
They take 7 points of damage.
Vanessa is definitely getting smacked.
Vanessa looks a little beat up.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. We are back up to the top, unless there's anything else you wanted to do on that turn.
Nope, I think I'm good.
All right. Is anybody using their movement? I know Ash and I used the movement to get to Ray, but Ray, are you moving further in, or are you staying where you are?
I'm gonna stay where I am.
Okay. All right, so back up to the top. We have Carter getting up off the ground, kind of brushing himself off, looking around. You see him pull 2 daggers and kind of just like flip them in his hands. At this point, Tristan, now being closer to the professor, is going to turn, face him. He's actually going to come out and he's going to try to grab the professor to kind of get him away from Vanessa. And as he grabs onto the professor, he is going to cast Inflict Wounds.
Oh, ouchie.
I don't believe there's a save for that. I think it just happens, doesn't it?
I have it. I can look. It is a melee attack.
Okay, correct. Yeah, it's touch, but okay, got it, yeah. All right, so that is a 22.
Yeah, that hits.
22 to hit, and that is going to be... That's going to be 16 points of necrotic damage. As he just grabs onto you and just burns as he's trying to pull you back.
Ouch.
Yikes. Okay.
And he's going to use his second attack to try and actually just grab you and shove you over towards the cave entrance, trying to separate you and your party members.
No.
So go ahead and make a strength check for me.
Okay. That would be a 23.
I also rolled a 23. So he grabs onto you and he goes to shove you, and as he does so, he does manage to pull you off of Vanessa. But as you're pulled off, you just turn around and you just face to face, both of you are just holding each other like locked in, and he is unable to throw you towards the entrance.
Okay.
That is
Now-
Tristan's turn. Now for Vanessa, who is now free from your grasp.
She won't stab me. She won't
Vanessa is actually going to go invisible.
Well, actually, that's fine. Do what you will, Carrie.
I thought it'd be like, well, shit.
I was like, do you have a fucking counter spell? I was like prepared for it.
No,
Well, actually,
I have see invisibility.
that's true. All right, so Vanessa goes invisible. Carter, who has stood up, is going to look around, grab onto like Shane's shoulder, pull him in a little bit further, and the two of them are going to run for Ray.
Please don't.
All right, so here is Shane's attack, which is going to be he's just got a dagger out right now, and he's just sprinting forward. That's going to be a 17 to hit you, Ray.
My AC is 18.
All right, so slices forward, and as the blade almost makes contact, you just put up your arm, and your armor just kind of just hits it away. That was his attack. Now we have Carter, who is coming up, and he is actually going to attack with both daggers. Here's for the first one.
Ouchie.
16.
Damn, skeletons, y'all are supposed to come in clutch.
26 for the second one.
Yeah, that one will do it, surprisingly enough.
Skeletons did not come in clutch. Those bastards.
We believed in you.
All right, so that's going to be 7 points of piercing damage from that dagger. As the first...
Oh, we're the chosen
Can I go
one.
ahead and use Hellish Rebuke?
Sure. Yeah, so the first one, he slices down, and it just completely misses. You just kind of move up and it just slashes through the air. The second one, he spins it around and he brings it up towards like just that crease in your armor right at your shoulder and just jams it in.
Gee, that hurt. You said 7?
7, yeah.
Okay. And then never cast Hellish Rebuke before because I've never played Tiefling. So they have to make a dex saving throw.
Okay.
14, I believe.
That is a fail.
Cool. So that's 2d10. Jeez. Shush. Okay. That is 15 points of damage.
Damn.
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 Big damage.
All right. Yeah, so as the dagger slams into that just little crease at your shoulder, blood starts to leak out of your wound, but then it seems to just kind of grab onto the blade and move up it a little bit. And once the blood reaches his first finger, it turns into just this arcane blast that just shoots through his arm, and he takes the dagger out and steps back and stumbles a little bit.
Through the arm hole.
All right, now it is the professor's turn.
Okay. Carter here has made a grave mistake. Because I still got 2 key points left. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first do regular bops, and
Bop, bop.
then I will hit this bastard with 4 attacks.
Do
So
it.
I'm going to spend the key point, do flurry of blows. So, first attack. Does not. Second attack. Does not.
Out of curiosity, tell me those numbers.
One was a 7, one was a natural 1. The one I just rolled was a 16. Yep.
Okay, the 16 will hit.
And this one was another 16.
Okay, both of those 16s will hit.
Okay, so I'll roll the damage for those 2. So altogether 17 points of damage. And I
To
like to think
Carter?
that the unarmed, the key point flurry of blows is me pecking him. Just like pecking the neck. Just
All right, so
Right in the
once you're finished with Carter, he has blood just running down various parts of his body. He looks beat up, and he is kind of just looking around now, trying to decide if it's worth it. You see the panic in his eyes as he's looking around.
And as I'm holding on to him, just go, should have stayed down.
The
Damn.
sight of the professor is always so intimidating.
About to be more so.
I have
All right.
intense physical power, just a tiny package.
Ashenai and Ray,
Yes.
you're up.
Ash and I, do you mind if I go first so I can see where Vanessa is?
Yeah,
Okay.
by all means.
Then I'm going to cast, where did it go? See Invisibility, which just says, for the duration I see invisible creatures and objects as if they were visible, and I can see into the ethereal plane. And its duration is an hour.
All right, sweet. So casting this, looking at the scene in front of you, you don't see Vanessa.
Okay. That's not great. That's not ideal.
What about behind you?
Do you look
What
around?
about behind me? Yeah, kind of. I'm a little panicked, but I'm gonna say to Ash and I'm gonna say Vanessa's not in front of us, but go ahead and do what you've gotta do.
All right, and as you look behind you, you see just the back end of Vanessa before she turns. She's going further into the cave.
Okay. Vanessa's going farther in. Should I go after her?
No, we stick together.
No,
Nuh-uh.
Just
Okay,
keep an eye out, all right?
got it.
Ash and I. What you doing?
Nash and I is going to, after like getting the fuck out of there and she's going to draw a dagger and draw out her pan flute, actually, and she's fucking ready. So how are these two in front of us looking? Like, still pretty good?
They're okay. They've taken some hits, but they look fine.
All right. Well, not for long. Two options here. I am going to deal with what's in front of me and worry about that later. I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers.
Ooh, spooky spell.
As fucking Ash and I starts twirling this dagger a little bit, and with the other hand starts, or rather, because it's a fucking beat, whistling this tune into this pan flute, and it sounds very like ominous, and it is echoing through this cave. And target takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction to move away from you at full speed. On a successful save, it takes half damage.
All right, what kind of save is it?
No, wisdom save.
Is it towards everyone?
It's one creature.
Okay, so which one are you focusing on?
So in front of us, there's this guy with the knives, and what's the other guy looking like?
Okay, so you see the guy with the knives, and then you see, they actually both had daggers out. One of them just took a decent amount of
Fired damage, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
I'm gonna do the other one.
Okay.
And as this guy in particular, this ominous tune seems to be echoing and bouncing off and making his ears ring and penetrating his mind.
That's a natural one.
3d6. So that is 2, 6, and 5. So that's
13?
13. That's 13 psychic damage, and he must yeet himself as far away from me as possible at full.
All right. So.
Wow.
Perhaps into the skeletons, maybe.
Just perhaps. Yes.
All right. So. Fear just. His face almost goes completely white. And you see him like tripping over his own feet for a moment as he turns around. He actually slams into Carter, pushes him, and just sprints off in the other direction. You see him, he's going so fast that he just slams into the skeletons, and the skeletons like bowling pin over. Like he's just pushing past them. He's like tripping over them, stepping on them, and he disappears. Just to let you know, he has 1 hit point left.
Oh no, the skeletons are gonna kill him!
This boy's just gonna
Yeah!
get destroyed out in the
1
shadows.
hit point.
Man. Wow, I almost
But that-
had to do it to him.
All right, back up to the top. We have, so Shane standing in front of you with the 2 daggers. Looking at both of you, you see him kind of back up a little bit, and
Ash and I still twirling the dagger.
you guys are just kind of looking at each other with these daggers in your hands, and you actually see Tristan now is going to use an action to disengage from combat. And as he's looking around, he's shouting, "Where the fuck is Vanessa?" And he just turns around and starts heading towards the mouth of the cave, just pushing the undead away. Seeing Carter rush out, he doesn't know what's going on. He's just slamming the skeletons.
Carter got knocked over and someone else rushed out, yeah?
Carter's the one that rushed out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then someone else got knocked over.
That was
Shane.
Tristan.
He pushed Shane
pushed
out of the way.
Shane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't get knocked over or anything, but he pushed Shane out of the way. Yeah, so Tristan is now trying to clear the area. Shane is the one looking at you right now, and that's the turn. Professor.
So just to clarify, am I still in like, I'm still holding Carter, right? Or is Carter?
You're pretty grouped up. Carter would just get the fuck out of there.
Okay, so that was Carter.
Yeah.
Then I will turn to the closest person because I have my arms up for 10 minutes, which is awesome.
Sweet.
And I'm just gonna.
All right, so you actually have a choice. Shane and Tristan are both kind of equally away from you. Shane, they're both facing away from you. Tristan is looking at the exit, hitting the skeletons, and Shane is looking at Ray and Ashnai.
Can I do like inner peace and then just punch both of them in the back?
Yes, please.
Yes!
Fuck yeah.
And then I will spend my last key point and I will flurry of blows. I'll be like, double tap both of them.
Fuck yeah.
Just 2 slices to each, just whoosh, whoosh.
Yes. Okay, so these are the 2 to Tristan. So that was a 18 and a dirty 23.
Both of those hit.
To Shane, that 1.
Oof.
And last one, a 16.
16 hits.
Okay, so rolling my damage first for Tristan. That's 8 plus. So that's 13 damage to Tristan. And then 10 damage to Shane.
Okay.
And as that happens, and as like Tristan says this, like, where the fuck is Vanessa? Ashnai's eyes like widen, and she shouts out, "She's going after the artifact!" To everyone.
Probably.
And kind of like Tristan looks like he's getting the fuck out of Dodge, and just well, what do we do? Fuck.
All right. Is Ashnai and Ray's turn.
Okay. So we.
Tristan's looking towards the entrance. He's taking care of these 2. How are they looking?
How are...
Shane and this guy. And Tristan looks like he's looking.
Yeah, Tristan's trying to get the fuck out of here. Shane's not looking that hurt, but he's also looking alone, and he's kind of glancing around, realizing he's the only one left in here.
Ashnai is actually going to say to Shane, "You want to leave with your life?"
Make an intimidation check.
Okay, we go, Ashnai.
Thanks. That's a 11 plus plus 5, so that's 16.
Okay. Ray, what are you doing?
And I'm probably gonna like start moving backwards.
Okay.
I don't see Vanessa, right? She like
Correct.
dipped.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's something I can use that would like track her, but I don't think so. Can I hold my turn until readying an attack if Shane decides to move forward?
All right. So if Shane moves forward, you're gonna attack.
Yes.
And I'm gonna like start using my like engine backwards. No.
All right. Shane does not move forward or take that attack of opportunity as you're moving backwards. Your words seem to have reached him, and as you're taking a step back, he just glances back at Tristan, who's still just hacking through these skeletons. And on their turn,
gotta give him credit. He's doing what he can.
And I am going to, as soon as I see this reaction, I'm gonna say, "Let's go," and I'm going to start running back.
Okay, and as soon as you turn and start running, Shane turns and starts running for the entrance as well, and he starts pushing through the skeletons with Tristan, and they are making their way out. If you let them, Professor, it is your turn.
Professor, let's go!
Inner peace.
Inner
Inner
peace!
peace.
I want to hurt them though, so bad.
We
The
have to
artifact!
get Vanessa! The artifact! Saving
imagine-
Ray's sister-in-law!
Ray and Ash and I are like backwards, like
Come on!
Okay, I will. Can I like just pick up a rock and throw it at one of them and then leave?
Sure. Which one are you
Okay.
throwing it at?
I'll throw it at Shane because that bitch thought he could do me good. Okay, I'm just gonna throw a rock. Natural.
No!
Just casually.
I said he could leave with his life!
Just throw some
Alright.
rock.
So here's what happens. You grab the rock, chuck it over your shoulder. You don't even look. And you're just sprinting back towards Ray and Ash and I. So Ray and Ash and I, you see, as he tosses this back and starts sprinting in your direction, the rock slams into the back of Shane's head, and Shane just falls over, unconscious. Tristan got the skeletons out of the way and looks down and is like, and looks back, and Tristan just reaches down, touches him. He like wakes up with what little healing Tristan could do, and then he just scoops him up, and they just start running. They just start running through, and they disappear. So now we are
running.
We are out of initiative currently, but you guys are sprinting.
I get as we head in, I'll be
Carried
like,
into the
"Did I
sunset."
hit him?"
Yes, you hit him. I promised him he could leave with his life. I mean, he lived, but still.
I didn't hear that.
Damn it. You did good, though. We just gotta find that Katarin before she finds the artifact. And we're...
All right, so sprinting in, it is very, very easy to see the footsteps that Vanessa left behind because nobody has been in here for a while. You can see the undead footsteps. They seem to go in for a little while and then just rest against the walls as if they're just waiting to leave again. So you can see two sets of footprints moving further than that, and they're very easy. They're very easy to follow, and there are various rooms that looks like you can go into, but these footsteps seem to kind of go in and then come back out. Like it's a very, not even all the way in, almost like looking in the room and then leaving. You see these footsteps leaving the rooms, and then you see them entering into one and not coming back out.
Okay, then we go that one.
Yes, I
wait.
do still have seed visibility up, so I don't see them, do I?
Not currently. You're still kind of in this little hallway area.
How big does the room they went in look?
Do you kind of go to the doorway?
Can we go like
Like,
peek?
Like
I'm gonna give
Scooby-Doo
a
style?
broad berth and like peek. I'm trying to get
Alright.
stabbed.
So yeah, those of you peeking in, you see
Oh,
this.
that's a good point. I should probably heal you.
I said please. Yeah, Ash and I is just like running and holding her stomach and like fucking just
Hold on, let me
And,
see if I got anything.
bleeding from her head profusely. Like her feathers are just stained with blood.
Let's go ahead and do
And
cure
like-
wounds at second level.
Leaning against the wall, just kind of.
I'll-
like,
Prestidigitation the blood off your feathers.
So you take 11 points of healing damage.
healing damage.
of healing damage.
39. Ash and I seems to sigh in relief as the wounds start to close up and the blood starts to disappear, and she blinks as she can see again without blood in her eyes and says, just to Ray, thanks. And because she doesn't know that Perspective did that. And, we peek into the room.
All right, so both of you are peeking into the room. Okay, so peeking in, Ashna, you were looking at how big the room was. You see a decent-sized chamber here. The ceilings probably stretch up about 12 feet or so. Definitely like a completely rectangular room. And you see a door on the other end. And you see two statues, one on each side of the door. Just kind of both of them like the statues facing out in your direction. And they have swords at the ready, basically, each of the statues. Glancing in, though, Ray, you see Vanessa, and you see Blake.
Okay.
Both invisible, but not by an invisibility spell on themselves. Like it wasn't like a greater invisibility spell. You actually are seeing through this little force field put up in the corner of the room. Like they're both visible behind it, but the force field is what's protecting them. But you're able to see through that with this spell. You look over and you see Vanessa a little more hurt than she was letting on. You see her kind of like removing a part of the armor and revealing a wound. And you see Blake basically stalling healing. And as you're looking in, they don't seem to notice you yet as you're peeking in. And they're being quiet, but you're able to hear the whispering. All of you will be able to hear the whispering. Basically, you hear Vanessa say, "Will you please hurry? They're gonna be following us in here." And then you hear Blake just ask, for what seems like the 100th time, are you sure they hid the orb here? Like, how do you know that? And then they hear a little creak, and they look off in your direction. Are you guys being seen, or are you ducking back behind the door?
Ashna is gonna step out.
Yeah, I mean, how far away are they from me?
Probably about maybe 40 feet or so, just in the corner of the room. Excuse me.
I can try casting sleep on Vanessa.
I mean, I'll just saunter in and be intimidating, just like prepping an Eldritch Blast in one of my big hands and just sort of like tossing it, sort of like a baseball.
Ashna touches the professor's shoulder and shakes her head, and is kind of looking around the room and just kind of says out loud, "We let them go, you know. Your friends, they should be out of this cave by now. They should be okay. It doesn't have to be like this."
At this point, Ray, you're able to see Vanessa stand up and look expectantly at Blake. And with this, Blake kind of reaches out and touches Vanessa's shoulder, and just, you see her wounds heal just a little bit. And then Blake puts her hand back down, and Vanessa stands up, looks directly into your eyes, like can see that you see her. And she's just looking out, and then you see her draw her dagger. Almost do like a mental, like, okay, ready? There's this sense of, once I'm visible, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. So she has her dagger out, she looks at Blake, and she nods. And make an insight check, Ray.
Okay. Sweet baby Jesus. 22.
Okay. So you see, with the look that Vanessa is giving Blake doesn't seem to be under any sort of charm or spell or anything, but seems to be under some sort of threat. So as Vanessa looks expectantly and drops the invisible shield, and they're visible to all of you now, Blake pulls the shield from her back and just kind of holds it out and sidesteps to where she is standing guarding Vanessa.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, Ray has sleep. I also have sleep. What if we cast it at the same time?
On the
How
same
do you
person.
On the same person. How would you rule that?
Ooh, that's a
'Cause
I mean,
that's
you could
5
almost
DA.
do it like you'd both roll for like the HP, and then see if it hits both of them.
Would we? No, we're casting it on the same person.
Oh,
I
the
would
same
say
person.
we'll add them together.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
look to Ray and I pull out my pan flute and I start playing what sounds like a lullaby and look at Ray expectantly as I start to cast sleep.
Okay.
Okay. Oh man, I have
So
so
that's gonna be
many.
5d8.
Yep.
I've still just got my Eldritch Blast ready.
3, 6, 5.
I got 16 HP total.
4, 6, 3, 5, 4, 7. 6, 3, 5, 4, 7. Math.
20. Hold on, let me write mine down before I forget.
Yep. 6, 3, 5, 4, 7. I said, what do you mean you can't do math?
10,
3, 5,
11, 21. You got 25. I did not roll great.
10. Yeah, I got 25.
And I got
So-
16.
Like, since it's like an area of effect and in descending order, so like that's 25 plus 15. That's gonna be
You're good.
40 HP?
41.
41.
All right. So the moment that Vanessa and Blake become visible, both of you cast sleep.
Yes.
And as you do so, you see something take over Vanessa's form, and you see her body falter for a moment, and Blake kind of reaches out to catch her, kind of catches her by the arm, and Vanessa stands up and just kind of shakes her head, and she looks tired, but
No, that was so much.
you just needed 7 more points.
I know, I rolled under 4 for like almost all of those. I'm pissed. I didn't use my
That
strawberry.
was pretty
then.
good though.
All right,
Anyway,
so
I start blasting.
So anyway, I started blasting.
So at this point, though, you see Blake kind of catch her, looking like confused, concerned, lifts Vanessa back up, and Vanessa looks to all of you, and then just looks to Ray and says, "So is this where you're hiding it?
The
We know
orb?
you didn't destroy it."
Well, it's not fucking here.
And
We're
she kind of
actually searching for another artifact. For artifact hunting.
Why would we hide a different artifact in a different ruin?
Where is it then?
I ain't telling you shit.
Just
Where you'll never find
Just picture this little pink tiefling. I ain't telling you shit. And then Blake says, "Look, I told you that didn't make any sense. That doesn't make sense. Well..." And Vanessa says, "Blake, don't be stupid. Look, she left you once. She'll leave you again. Whose side are you on?"
Or you could come with us. And I'll take you to.
I would also just like to point out that while I may be tossing around an Eldritch Blast right now and without hesitation would throw it at you, emotional abuse and manipulation is very low on the totem pole of things you should do to each other.
Are you
So,
Blink twice if you need help.
So Blake, right now, it seems like you were a bit of a victim here, being emotionally abused. So I would recommend you move to the side so I may blast this woman's head off with an Eldritch Blast, or punch it into oblivion. Either option is fine.
Or we could not do that, dear Professor. Blake, you could come with us. I'll take you to the org, and Vanessa, you may leave with your life.
I also would like to do something. So
Okay.
I took the telepathic feat.
Oh.
And so I would like to speak telepathically to Blake.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say, look, I am so sorry that I left. I would be lying if I said I haven't thought about you pretty much every day that we've been apart. But I found out that the orb isn't the thing that we thought it was. And I knew that going back, having failed, and going back knowing what I know, my interests and the guild's interests aren't the same anymore. Please, come with us. Come with me.
So when you first start talking, Blake jumps, like literally just jumps from hearing the voice in her head. And then Vanessa's still talking. Vanessa's like, you're with me or against me? Which one is it? And you just see Blake like just not there, just listening right now. And
Ashtonai hisses, shut up, you know what's good for you.
Vanessa finally.
Shut your whore mouth.
So here's what happens. Vanessa finally gives up talking to Blake because Blake is whatever, and Vanessa looks to you, right, as you're kind of finishing this thought in your head. She looks to you and she says, look, I wanted you alive so that I could know the location of the orb. And then she kind of puts her hand on her book that you've seen her use to speak with dead.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, but you don't have to be alive. And at this point, you see Blake actually draw her sword, shield still out, and she takes one step towards you, another step towards you, and then she turns around and she puts the shield to where it's guarding you instead. And she holds the sword sort of out towards Vanessa, and Vanessa's face just drops.
Ashtonai smiles, grins even, as much as a bird can.
I got my Eldritch Blast.
Oh, Professor. Why don't we give her a taste of her medicine?
I mean,
I'm gonna cast. No.
no?
No?
Gonna save it?
Yeah, you know, just in case. I'm gonna cast enlarge on the professor.
Oh, I was like,
You're gonna cast what on me?
Enlarge, like
Nice!
so you just grow. Do you release this Eldritch Blast?
If I am large, my damage die for my fists goes up.
True.
We stuck that Eldritch Blast back in, and I'm just like...
So you kind of you punch the Eldritch Blast back into your palm as you're just enlarging, and Vanessa's eyes are just getting wider and wider. What are you doing?
I was meant I could flurry of blows, but I don't have any more key points left.
For the hell of it here, I am just gonna have the professor and Vanessa roll initiative real quick.
Okay.
I've sent my Pokemon out into battle.
Nice!
Professor, I choose you!
That is a 19 initiative.
Okay. So what would you like to
I'm
do?
gonna be ready to support him.
I'm just gonna like gorilla smash with both my arms.
Oh
So
my
the first one,
So now you become like normal height.
yes.
And now you're a really
Big
fucking intimidating looking bird.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so roll your
that-
attacks.
Professor looking like a snack.
Oh.
Okay, that is a 16 and a 17.
Both of those hit.
Okay. So now, D10s? Nah, yes.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
All right. Okay, here we go. Oh, I lost one. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. So 23 damage.
Total?
Yes.
All right. So just two smashes, slam down into Vanessa. As they slam down, she basically is just plummeted like a rag doll, just twice, and then slams down into the ground. You watch her hit the ground, blood kind of just spattering out from her mouth for a moment, and then you see the monocle, the little eyeglass thing that she had on her necklace. It glows, and the glass actually cracks and explodes out of it, and she opens her eyes again. Is that your turn?
2 health bars?
I'm just gonna like knuckle down and just sort of squawk, because I can't roar. I was like, just absolutely shrill, highest piercing parrot screech. And just sort of just glare at her and just like breathe, like chuff, because I still have the whole flaming parrot head above mine, so.
All right, so she is going to sort of position herself in a way where she can kind of sit up. She can't quite stand up with the position that she's in right now, so she just scoots back a little bit, sees you, sees Ash and I, looks over, sees Blake, sees Ray, and knows what's coming. She knows. And so you see this black energy build up in her hand, and she points out in the direction of Ray, and this bolt just slams outward and like going towards Ray, and you just see Blake's shield slam into it, and the shield itself, it slams in, and the whole shield kind of like crackles like a windshield, and then just disintegrates into ash, kind of burning the outside of Blake's arm. Now, all of you can have an action simultaneously if you'd like.
I mean, yes.
And Blake's arm is just like, and she's just looking down at it like, just trying to push off the burning pain that...
I will go ahead and cast Inflict Wound as a touch, huh?
It is touch.
That's dumb. Then I will use Moonbeam. Con 14 save. Which, none of those have gone very well for me.
I could do without a con. Oh. One.
I can see it.
Oh, you're gonna disintegrate her instead.
So,
Yeah,
tell me how this death looks.
It almost feels like, because we're underground, but it almost feels like this weird crack comes through in the ceiling, and just like a sudden beam of just moonlight, like bright, and it's so bright and you can't quite see it, and then the light clears, right? And she's either dead or she's gone, whichever one you would like.
You see... So it's not... You don't see a charred body before you. Like, it's nothing like that kind of a burn, but you see almost what looks like a long dead body before you as the moonbeam leaves. And you just see this shell of a Karen leaning up against this wall, lifeless. And the room falls silent.
That's what you get for being mean to my baby.
I'm going to cast Speak with Dead.
Like, how you like them apples, bitch?
Yes.
He's gonna fucking rub it in.
I'm
Oh my
going
god.
to
All right, so it's silent, and Ashnai just walks up,
mhm.
casts the spell, and you see, sitting, leaning up against the wall, you see Vanessa's head kind of just roll back up, and the eyes open. They're empty sockets, but the eyes open.
Oh.
Well,
Oh,
right.
I love that.
Any last words?
You see the the eyelids moving as if eyes were sort of trying to blink or look around, and what's happening?
Tried to kill my friend here. And now you're here. So I ask you one more time. Do you have any last words before you go off into the unknown?
Her breath is raspy, and her head kind of rolls off a little bit, and she looks she turns her head in the direction of Blake.
Oh god, I'm about to scar this woman for life.
And her mouth opens, and so the thing about Speak with Dead is only the caster
can hear it.
can hear it. So you guys are just watching Ash and I just say things to this corpse. But Vanessa turns and looks towards Blake. And knowing the spell, looks back to you, and she just says, I just want to know why.
Why what? Second question.
I want to know what kind of power makes you turn on your family. And she just kind of looks back over towards Ray.
I could ask you the same question. You were ready for her to die. All for a possibility that you know nothing about. So tell me, why were you willing to kill for this? To kill your family? To die for this?
The mission was to destroy it. It's dangerous in the wrong hands. We always accomplish our mission.
Not today.
Don't like that.
Not today. And I end the spell.
Her body falls lifeless once again. Blake, kind of holding her arm, just looking at you, doesn't really say anything, completely avoiding eye contact with Ray, and is just looking down at her arm.
Now I'm going to cast Mass Healing Word. And give everyone like plus 1d4.
Okay.
Including myself. Let me roll that. That would be a 2 plus my spellcasting ability modifier, which is plus 7. Wait, no, that's my attack.
I was like, what?
God. That would be charisma, so that's plus 4. So that's 2 plus 4. So that's 6.
Just out of curiosity, are you giving that to Blake too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Slurp, slurp. Good shit.
Hell yeah. And Ashnai says, well, a hypocrite until death. She was wanting to know what kind of power would cause someone to turn on their family, and I asked her the same thing. She was blinded by her faith, believed in nothing else, not even the truth. And that's exactly the kind of thing we fight against. So, Blake, are you with us?
Blake is kind of looking at her arm, which is like just healing together. It's scarring, but healing, and she just looks up and then finally looks at Ray and just says, I wanted to believe her so bad. She told me that the orb was making you do this. That the orb made you leave, that it wasn't your choice.
You wanted to save her.
But it was my choice, for better or for worse. I just didn't have a great way of letting you know.
Blake looks around now and, what are you doing here?
Well, okay, funny story.
We're trying to save someone's life.
I feel like at this point the professor's kind of like, well, how long does enlarge last, by the way?
Oh, you're still big. It it lasts casting time, reach, duration. It lasts for like 1 minute. So like you still got a little bit.
Okay.
Or as you're talking, you're shrinking.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Not like at once, but just like
Yeah.
Like, kind of deflating.
Yes.
yeah, just gradually shrinking.
All right, so
Like-
for the sake of this lasted way longer than it was supposed to, you explain to
Yeah.
Blake what you're doing here, and upon looking at this door and the statues that are around it, Vanessa had studied this door previously. After finding you at this entrance, made her way in, figured out what you could possibly be doing here, assumed you were hiding this orb behind this door. So many of the traps and puzzles have been dispelled, and as you approach it, Blake actually knows the correct sequence to open the door. As it opens, though, Ash and I and the professor and Blake, they don't see anything. Ray, still being able to see invisibility, sees a little hidden, almost like hatch, off on the other side of the door. So yeah, Blake's like, there's nothing here. I'm sorry, I don't know what you were here for, but opens up the door and you guys look in to disappointedly see nothing.
Or I'll go ahead and lift that. That'll good
You
old
go
hatch
over,
there.
just this invisible hatch. As it's opening, it becomes visible to everyone, and on the inside you see, almost like a wall safe, on the inside you see hanging just a glistening, perfect condition necklace that's like, it's got like a golden chain and it has just this huge ruby inside of it.
Ash and I is just staring in wonder and slowly lifts her hands and begins to
Put on gloves.
while still staring in awe at this artifact. And may I?
Go for it.
And Ash and I very delicately hooks her claws under the necklace and very gently, almost anticipating something to happen, lifts it off its post.
All right, and I think that's a beautiful place for a scene transition. So we are transitioning forward a little further. Right off the bat here, Blake is still employed with this guild, which the guild is a part of a higher agency. So Blake, avoiding like personal conversations, tells you, I'm gonna report this. I'm just gonna go, and just points to Vanessa, report that, and then maybe we can meet up somewhere.
God damn it, do I have any extra, do I have any Rocky Talkies, some good old sending stones that
Sure.
I could just, yes. And I'm gonna hand it to her and I'm gonna say, just call me sometime.
And I'll say, as we're sort of walking away, I'll sort of walk Blake off a little bit, be like, Blake, there's always an extra spot in the Marakawet Islands, I'm sure I could talk with some of my cousins, get you a little bungalow set up. I'm sure it'll be very comfortable. I hope you're not too adverse to sunlight. It gets very hot. We have various pastes we can use if you're a more pale individual, but you are welcome on the islands anytime.
Thank you.
And then and then I go, but if you hurt Ray, I will punch my fist through your stomach and tear your heart out.
Oh my god, I'm pushing out of the way. Go, thanks, Professor, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and just turns around and leaves.
Just shoves this little 3-foot murder bird, just out of here.
Okay, I'm back.
Alright, so, at this point, let me...
Is your report going to be factual?
Blake's already gone.
Oh, fuck, I missed it.
You missed it.
There was a threat of murder, and so Blake was told to leave.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna say this out loud to the others. So, do you think her report's going to be factual?
Well, considering she didn't kill us or turn on us, I'm gonna say probably not.
Well, let's hope not.
We're building the resistance.
Smiles.
Alright, so...
Gamers rise up.
So, with the artifact in hand, you eventually make your way back to Cherie, where you left her frozen and guarded. You, with your extensive knowledge of the orb, unfreeze her, and you give her the necklace, and you watch as the darkness and the sickness leaves her skin, and you can hear it leave her lungs as the necklace seems to siphon it out of her, and then the necklace itself vanishes from the gem and outward, like no longer wearing it, no sign it was ever there. And then Rika just sits down next to Cherie and just pulls her into a hug, and she's just thanking you guys over and over and over, just saying thank you, and then she seems to be just thanking everyone. She's thanking Morcius for helping watch, and she's just thankful, and she just says through tears, you saved her. And with Cherie finally safe, Rika's story ends with a sigh of relief and sort of a justification, not a justification, a making Rymel's death worth something. Ash and I, you wish to be the keeper of this orb, and upon piecing together the rest of Arwick's notes, you find many of the notes include the name of the Kenku assistant, Axel. Many of the notes include Axel's actual handwriting as well. And upon thorough investigation of the notes, you discovered that Arwick and Axel were in fact working together on this orb. It wasn't Arwick who took the credit at all. It was the kingdom that handed Arwick the credit. And you have the notes bound together with the journal that proves it. Knowing that, tell us the end of Ashenai's story.
Upon discovering this, I imagine this is like something that is completed shortly after we finally completed our quest, and now I just have time to just do this. Ashenai's probably holed up in their hut or whatever for quite a while, and anyone want to be privy to this? Just a moment, like, and Ashenai just kind of, after piecing this leather-bound journal together, just gets up with a sigh and takes up the journal and walks out. Are we like on the islands, or are we like, do we go back, or are we still like here?
I think it's up to you.
Yeah, it's entirely
All right,
up to you.
I imagine we went back to the islands. We're done with that shit. We're laying low because we became conspicuous again, and we need to lie low for a while. So I just walk up, and what are you guys doing?
I don't know.
Even know.
Yeah, let's just kind of more of just wrap up
Right.
what you would do with that information, basically.
Okay. So Ashenai is just going to walk out and just go somewhere, just outside, looking out on the coast, probably in the direction of where her homeland was, and just takes a few feathers and just scatters them out to sea, and just kind of in this moment sits down on the edge of like this cliff or this ledge or whatever, and just sits down, places the book down, and just starts to cry. Just cries a lot and kind of curls in on herself, and after quite a while she finally leans back, and it's like just this presence of moments and this weight off her shoulders and this weight beside her of everyone that has been lost and forgotten, and she's going to obviously keep the original notes, but she's going to see if she can make copies, and she's going to put them in circulation. I'm going to write a book.
That
I'm going to write a memoir.
fantastic.
Yeah, she's going to write a memoir about the Parthcrow.
Okay,
The Kenku.
which will eventually be spread publicly everywhere. And
You genocided my people, and I won't let you get away with it.
your story will
No
be
one's gonna
heard.
know the truth. Fuck you
good
guys.
one.
And that's it.
All right, Professor.
Uh,
The macaw kinku in your homeland used to look sideways at your existence in the mainland. But your bond with these three strangers and weirdos seemed to open their mind a little bit, even if only slightly. And with Ashenai's revelation of the truth about the Orb of Arwick and Axel, as they began to call it, they began returning to society, and they allowed themselves to be seen with other races, no longer afraid to show their true forms or their own cultural ways or acts. And you showed them they don't have to be exiles, whether they were exiling themselves or not. The professor has some dark times, and has learned what he's truly capable of within recent years, but he's also experienced strong bonds with all of you, with the almond salesman. And now that your work is done, with all of this in just full swing, tell us the end of the professor's story.
So, when we get back, I think the professor's going to spend some time in contemplation, sort of going over how he used, Tuto Corona's power, and sort of reflecting on that. And then once he sort of comes out of that contemplation, first thing he does is he proposes to the lovely almond salesman. They have a beautiful wedding down on the beach. Lovely tropical sunset behind them. And then over the next couple of decades, I think the big thing he does is try to reinstate some of the history that his people have lost sort of in the islands, and really try to unify all the islands and make them this great nation that they could be, rather than just sort of these eclectic family clans. And after the whole fiasco in Melrose has kind of fallen out of the current memory, he sends his grandchildren there to set up the first Marakawat embassy in Melrose, and to begin to have the great trade empire of the Marakawat principalities to begin sort of reinventing and redefining themselves in the world, and not just as a vacation spot for wealthy individuals, but as a place full of culture, language, art, music, food, and adventure.
Okay. And finally, Ray. The obsession of the guild was revealed through Blake's reports, and they were found and arrested, and one Carter was revived. Vanessa was also revived,
Fine.
and
Okay.
they are imprisoned to pay for their crimes against basically what the guild stands for. You sit in a small tavern one morning, enjoying some of the best coffee you've had in Or's Rest, which is good because it probably costs more than your room. But you sip on it and you watch the rain just gently fall outside, and you hear the mud slosh around as the horses and buggies go by in front of the building. And as one passes, you see a familiar face looking both ways before crossing the street. A bag slung over her shoulder, her sword sheathed at her side, her hair just soaked from the rain. Blake doesn't see you until she's already crossed the street. And then you make eye contact through the window, and she gives kind of a sheepish little wave and eventually comes in to meet you. And with that, tell us the end of Ray's story.
Well, Ray isn't done adventuring. Ray still is very interested in just like the happenings of the past and uncovering artifacts and uncovering ruins and information. But from then on, she doesn't adventure alone. So I would say that is the end of Ray's story.
Okay. So, the Orb of Arwick and Axel turned out to be much more than a simple artifact to find. It was the thing that brought all of you together. It's what pushed you to trust each other with your secrets. It gave you the time you needed to save Shuri. It showed you the error of your ways and set you on a path to what is right. It allowed you to see that there was much more to life than the guild you were sworn to, and it gave you closure for your people, allowing you to reveal the truth to the entire world. The Orb of Arwick and Axel gave all of you your lives, what they are today, with clarity and knowledge that you have done what you can to make the world just a little bit better. And that, my friends, is the end of the story of the Orb of Arwick.
I'm feeling so many emotions.
Yeah, were we at your wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I like to imagine if Ray and Blake get married, like, are there with like our little Minna macaw kids.
Baby!
And as Blake's up there, like, I just look at Blake and I'm just like, or actually, no.
Also, about
only-
those 6 husbands and wives.